Chapter 460. Call the police. Hearing her words, Zhong Anghua and Qin Haodong immediately laughed arrogantly. We're helping the freshmen register. We didn't do anything illegal. The police can only give us a banner when they come. Li Meiyu was annoyed by Zhong Anghua's shameless face. At the same time, she missed the days when she had a bodyguard. If the bodyguard was by her side, she would definitely beat this guy up and take back her notice. At this time, she suddenly thought of Qin Haodong, who was standing in front of her. This guy had just spanked her last night. She couldn't take advantage of him for nothing. Yes, let's do that. Let him help me get the notice back. Although Zhong Anghua looked tall and strong, she had seen Qin Haodong's skills last night. He could fight 10 people at once. In short, she didn't like either of them. As long as they fought, she would be happy to see the result no matter who won or lost. If Qin Haodong defeated Zhong Anghua and took back her admission notice, it would be the best. If Qin Haodong was beaten by Zhong Anghua, he deserved to spank her last night, which could be regarded as revenge for her. No matter how she thought about it, Li Meiyu felt that it was a good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. She immediately dragged her suitcase and ran over. She hugged Qin Haodong's arm and said in a charming voice, "Honey, I finally found you." Qin Haodong looked at the gate of the Shanghai Medical College. Just as he was about to step in, a fragrant wind suddenly came over, and then he was hugged by someone. He looked back and saw a very delicate girl holding him. She looked a little familiar. He looked at her carefully again and realized that it was the girl who had changed her clothes last night. "Hey! What are you doing? Are you going to use me as a gun again? Let me go." Last night, he had been used by this girl. Although Qin Haodong didn't hate her, he didn't like her either. He tried to push Li Meiyu away, but she was hugging him too tightly. He couldn't push her away too hard, so he couldn't push her away. "Honey, you're her boyfriend. Now someone is bullying me. They robbed me of my admission notice. Help me get it back." Li Meiyu still held his arm tightly, pointing at Zhong Anghua and Qin Haodong. "Big sister, you guys can play however you want, but don't bring me along, okay? I don't know you, and I'm not your darling, so let me go, okay?" Li Meiyu was annoyed when she saw that such a beauty took the initiative to throw herself at him and act coquettishly and cute, but he was indifferent. If Qin Haodong didn't take the bait, then her method of killing 2 birds with 1 stone would be useless. At this time, Zhong Anghua laughed unscrupulously and said, "Li Meiyu, why are you doing this? Look at the man you found. He's really too cowardly. He's so scared when he sees me that he doesn't even dare to admit his identity. How can such a man give you a sense of security? In the future, play with me, and I'll protect you from anything." Qin Haodong was about to leave when he heard Zhong Anghua's words. Li Meiyu, wasn't she the girl he wanted to protect? It can't be so coincidental, right? He asked, "Are you sure your name is Li Meiyu?" Li Meiyu glared at him and said angrily, "Nonsense. What else should I be called if not Li Meiyu? Baby, why are you angry? I was just joking with you." No matter what, she was still his employer. She spent 1 million yuan a day, so he had to do something for her. Of course, this little girl took the initiative to come to him, so he had to collect some interest. After confirming Li Meiyu's identity, Qin Haodong immediately put his arms around her slender waist and held her intimately in his arms, as if he had changed into a different person. Li Meiyu didn't expect that Qin Haodong's attitude would change 180 degrees. She was taken advantage of again. However, she had said that they were a couple, so she could only swallow it and let him hug her like this. "Honey, they robbed me of my acceptance letter," Li Meiyu said as she pointed to Zhong Anghua. She wanted to make the 2 of them fight as soon as possible. It would be best if both of them were beaten black and blue. Qin Haodong tightened his arms around her waist and whispered in her ear, "Baby, don't worry. I'll get the letter back for you right away and ask him to apologize to you. It was the first time that Li Meiyu had been so intimate with a man. Feeling Qin Haodong's strong arms and strong manly aura, her heart was beating fast, and her cheeks were red and hot. Hearing his words, Zhong Anhua curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Boy, you are also a freshman who came to register this year, right? Do you know who I am? You dare to say anything? Aren't you afraid of losing your tongue?" Then he put Li Meiyu's letter into his pocket, and then crossed his hands. His 10 fingers made a crackling sound, and he put on a posture that he would fight if there was any disagreement. Originally, there were a lot of people around. Seeing that there was something happening here, they immediately gathered and surrounded the place. There were many people who knew Zhong Anhua. Seeing his posture, they knew that the pretty boy opposite him must have suffered a lot. Qin Haodong didn't care at all. He let go of Li Meiyu in his arms and took 2 steps forward. He reached out to Zhong Anhua and said, "Give me back the letter." Although he was also 180 meters tall, standing in front of Zhong Anhua, who was tall and big, he always gave people a feeling of weakness. The crowd began to whisper, "Who is this pretty boy? Does he want to die? He even dares to provoke Zhong Anhua." That's right. These people on the school basketball team have always fought without caring about their lives. It seems that he will suffer. Is this man out of his mind? He even asked Zhong Anhua for the letter directly. How could he give it to him? I guess it's inevitable that he will be beaten up. Li Meiyu, who was standing behind, tidied up her clothes, gritted her teeth, and thought bitterly in her heart, "Do it. Do it. You two are so annoying. It's better to beat them to the ground and make them unable to get up." She was not only dissatisfied with Zhong Anhua's rogue behavior, but also dissatisfied that Qin Haodong had just taken advantage of her, so she was full of hope that the two of them could fight immediately. However, the next scene surprised everyone. Zhong Anhua, who was tall and big, was out of character. Like a good baby, he took out the admission letter from his pocket and respectfully handed it to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong took the letter and looked at it. Then he said, "Don't you feel ashamed of bullying a female classmate? Hurry up and apologize to my girlfriend." Hearing what he said, many people thought that Zhong Anhua would definitely go berserk. Even Lu Wei, who was next to him, was ready to fight. As long as Zhong Anhua showed any signs, he would immediately make a move. However, the result was beyond everyone's imagination again. Zhong Anhua was like an obedient primary school student. He respectfully came to Li Meiyu and bowed to the ground. "I'm sorry. It was my fault just now. Please forgive me." The lenses around them shattered and fell to the ground. No one could believe what they were seeing. What the F***ck, what's going on? Did Zhong Anhua's head get kicked by a donkey? Zhong Anhua actually bowed his head and apologized to others. Did the sun rise from the west? I guess this young man must be the young master of a big family, or the illegitimate son of the principal. Otherwise, how could Zhong Anhua be so obedient? Lu Wei's mouth was wide open. He knew Zhong Anhua's temper very well. This guy had always been simple and rude. He never admitted defeat. In addition, his family condition was good. It was normal for him to be rude and unreasonable. How could he bow his head and apologize to others? But the fact was in front of him, so he had to believe it. Li Meiyu was also stunned. How could this be? The script was not designed like this. Shouldn't the two of them fight for her? At least one side should be beaten black and blue, or even both sides should be injured. Why did this big man apologize to her like this? Only Qin Haodong knew what had happened. He had never been a violent person. Since the mind manipulating could solve it, why did he have to fight? He turned to look at Li Meiyu and said, "Baby, how is it? Are you satisfied with his attitude?" Since Zhong Anhua had already bowed his head and apologized, Li Meiyu had nothing to say. She could only nod. Then let's go. Qin Haodong said as he held Li Meiyu's little hand in his. The two of them walked into the school together, just like a real couple. Li Meiyu wanted to take her hand back, but she failed after trying several times. She could only let Qin Haodong hold her hand like this. The people around were waiting to watch the fun, but they didn't expect it to end like this. Those who didn't know Zhong Anghua felt that this big man was too cowardly. Those who knew Zhong Anghua really didn't understand what had happened to him today. Why did he bow his head and apologize to a pretty boy? It wasn't until Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu's figures disappeared in the crowd that Zhong Anghua's body shook slightly and his expression returned to normal. He came to his senses and looked around. Everyone was looking at him with contempt, while Li Meiyu and Qin Haodong had already disappeared. He turned around and said to Lu Wei, "What's going on? What just happened?" Lu Wei asked in surprise, "Boss, don't you remember? You just returned the notice to that guy and bowed to that woman to apologize." "What? I bowed to that woman and apologized? You're not talking nonsense, are you?" Zhong Anghua couldn't believe his ears. "Yes, boss. There are so many people watching. How dare I lie?" Only then did Zhong Anghua know why the people around him were looking at him with contempt. He said with annoyance, "Why didn't you stop me?" Lu Wei said innocently, "Boss, I don't know what you mean. I thought that little white guy was a great person." "Bullshit." After Zhong Anghua got angry, he thought for a moment and said, "I think that guy must have learned hypnotism. I accidentally fell into his trap just now." Lu Wei thought for a moment and said, "It seems to be true. You seem to be possessed. You listen to whatever that guy says. Let's go first. That little bastard must be a freshman in our school. I can't spare him." After Zhong Anghua finished speaking, he left in disgrace under many people's contemptuous eyes. After Li Meiyu and Qin Haodong walked for a while, she shouted angrily, "Rascal, let me go." Qin Haodong let go of Li Meiyu's hand and said with a smile, "Last night, you hugged me and called me husband. Today, you chased me and called me darling. You took the initiative to come to me. Why do you think I'm a rascal? You've helped me twice. I thank you, but don't think that you can have improper thoughts. You're not qualified to be my boyfriend." Knowing that this girl was his employer, Qin Haodong was not angry. He said with a smile, "Then tell me, what will your future boyfriend look like? Don't tell me he's wearing golden armor and riding on colorful auspicious clouds. Your boyfriend is a monkey." Li Meiyu said, "My boyfriend must be handsome and a great hero. In short, he can't be like you." Chapter 461. Qin Haodong knew that this little girl was angry with him, so he didn't care about her words at all. However, after listening to her words, his heart was moved. He was about to become this little girl's bodyguard. If she ran all over the place and he had to chase after her to protect her, he would tire himself to death. During the day, they were in the same school. Naylan Wushuang also arranged for them to be in the same class through her connections. But what about at night? Could it be that he had to stand guard in front of the girls' dormitory every day? The best way to avoid this kind of situation was to live together as a couple. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong suddenly took Li Meiyu's hand and stared deeply into her eyes. "I find that I suddenly fall in love with you. Give me a chance to pursue you. Will you be my girlfriend?" Li Meiyu was startled. They were just bickering, but Qin Haodong really wanted to pursue her. She asked subconsciously, "Are you serious?" Of course it's real, more real than pearls. Of course, Qin Haodong didn't want to pursue Li Meiyu. But in order to be less tired in the future, he had to use this method. "No, I already said that you don't meet the requirements of my boyfriend." Although Li Meiyu refused, her tone was much softer than before. "Don't be in such a hurry to reject me. Actually, I have a lot of good points. Since I've helped you twice, can you give me a chance to pursue you? Qin Haodong said as he took the suitcase from Li Meiyu. I'll be here in the future. You don't have to do this kind of hard work. Also, I can guarantee your safety. If you encounter any hooligans, just leave it to me. Li Meiyu looked at the man in front of her again. She had to admit that he was really handsome and good at martial arts. She was also very grateful to him for saving her. She was just dissatisfied that he had spanked her last night. But it was also her fault. Li Meiyu looked at the man in front of her again. She thought about it and said, well, I'll give you a chance, but it's just a chance, not a real boyfriend. Okay, don't worry. I'll be the best boyfriend this year. Qin Haodong took Li Meiyu's hand and said, let's go. Let's go. Li Meiyu said, you're just a pursuer. You can't hold my hand. Qin Haodong didn't let go. He smiled and said, it doesn't matter. Why bother about such a small thing? With my strength, it's only a matter of time before I catch up with you. Li Meiyu tried to shake him off but failed, so she let him pull her. The two of them walked to the reporting office together. She asked, are you also a student of Shanghai Medical College? Qin Haodong said, yes, I'm in the Department of Chinese Medicine. Which department are you in? I'm also from the Chinese Medicine Department. I didn't expect us to be in the same class. Although Qin Haodong had already known this result, he still put on a surprised expression and said, what a coincidence. It seems that we are really fated. The two of them were from the same faculty, so they naturally went through the relevant procedures together. Soon, they finished the admission procedures and received the dormitory keys. According to the school's rules, today was the reporting time. Tomorrow, everyone would have time to tidy up. The day after tomorrow, they would officially go to class. Qin Haodong asked Li Meiyu, where are you going? Since I've already registered, of course I'll go to the dormitory. Alright, I'll send you there. Qin Haodong accompanied Li Meiyu to the girls' dormitory and said, are you going to live in the dormitory in the future? Li Meiyu said, of course. If I don't live in the dormitory, do you think I'll live with you? Yes, that's what I mean. Qin Haodong said in a hurry, why don't you live with me today? Li Meiyu's legs went soft and she almost fell to the ground. Was Wuxia so open-minded now? They just met for the first time and they were going to live together. Qin Haodong reached out to support her and explained, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to live with me. Li Meiyu glared at him and said, we're living together. What is it if it's not cohabitation? Well, my house is very big. It's a 4-story villa with many rooms. You can choose any one to live in. Qin Haodong said, it's inconvenient to live in the dormitory in college. It's better to live outside. Li Meiyu looked at Qin Haodong and said, are you sure you have a 4-story villa in Shanghai? Not a 4-square-meter rental house. Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Qin Haodong pointed to the Shanghai No. 1 community not far away and said, it's over there. It's not far from the school. It's very convenient to live there. Li Meiyu thought about it. If that was the case, it was really good. She had never lived in a dormitory since she was a child. She was afraid that she would not be able to adapt to the collective life. However, she was a girl. It felt a little inappropriate to live in Qin Haodong's house after meeting him for the second time. Qin Haodong made this suggestion in order to protect Li Meiyu. He also knew that it was a little hasty, so he said, think about it carefully. You can go to my house with me. And don't worry, it's not just the two of us. There's another friend who is also a girl. You can live with her. Li Meiyu said in surprise, what? There's another girl in your house. Are you living together? What are you thinking? Qin Haodong said, she's just a friend of mine. She just moved in at noon today. It has nothing to do with living together. They talked as they walked. From the reporting office to the girls' dormitory, they had to pass the basketball court. At this time, there were 7 or 8 people playing on the basketball court. These people were playing well and were very skilled. More than a dozen people gathered around to watch the fun, and several girls kept shouting and cheering. It had to be said that boys who could play basketball easily attracted the attention of girls. On the court, a big man received a pass from his companion. He quickly dribbled and broke through. Finally, he made a slam dunk and poured the basketball into the basket. There was a burst of cheers around. A boy next to him wiped the sweat on his forehead and said, "Boss Zhong, what's wrong with you today? Did you take medicine? Why are you so fierce?" The big boy who had just dunked was Zhong Angua. He was playing with Lu Wei and several of his teammates from the school team. Lu Wei said, "Boss Zhong is angry. He just met a freshman and was fooled by that guy. He even took away the woman that Boss Zhong liked." The boy's name was Zhang Chao. After hearing Lu Wei's words, he immediately shouted, "A freshman dares to offend Boss Zhong. Does he not want to stay in our school anymore?" Lu Wei said, "Who knows? Maybe that guy is new and doesn't know Boss Zhong's reputation in our school." As soon as he finished speaking, his expression suddenly froze. His eyes were fixed outside the court. Zhang Chao asked, "Wei, what's wrong?" Lu Wei pointed to Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu, who were walking over, and said, "It's them. Boss Zhong likes that woman, and that man is the freshman who fooled him. Damn, he's rebelling against them. I'll teach him a lesson now." The members of the school basketball team had always been used to fighting fiercely. Zhang Chao was one of the best among them. After hearing Lu Wei's words, he immediately went to find trouble with Qin Haodong. At this time, he found that Zhong Angua had already walked over with a basketball. "Boy, I didn't expect to see you again so soon." He looked at Qin Haodong with a cold expression. Zhong Angua was originally the focus of the court. As soon as he moved, everyone's eyes immediately followed him. Who is this boy? He looks like a freshman. How dare he provoke Boss Zhong? That girl is so beautiful. I give her 99 points. She's the kind of girl I like. If it weren't for the man standing next to her, I would give her 100 points. I know what's going on. This girl is the woman that Boss Zhong likes. She was taken away by that toy boy. Qin Haodong was trying to persuade Li Meiyu to live with him. He didn't expect to see Zhong Angua, the annoying guy, at this time. He frowned and said, "To be honest, I really don't want to see you." At this time, several people on the court also stood behind Zhong Angua and looked at Qin Haodong fiercely. Seeing this scene, Li Meiyu was not nervous at all. She stood behind Qin Haodong and watched all this with interest. She wanted to see how this man would solve the current trouble. Zhong Angua raised his hand to stop his teammates behind him. He held the basketball in his hand and said to Qin Haodong, "Do you dare to fight with me one-on-one?" Qin Haodong said, "Please, I'm very busy. Can't you see that I'm accompanying a beautiful woman? How can I have time to play with you?" A sarcastic look appeared at the corner of Zhong Angua's mouth. "Why? Are you afraid? Yes, are you afraid? If you have the guts, fight with Boss Zhong one-on-one. If you're afraid, get out of here and give the beautiful woman to Boss Zhong." The people behind Zhong Angua also shouted at the same time. Qin Haodong really didn't want to talk to these boring guys. He took Li Meiyu and was about to leave. However, Li Meiyu whispered in his ear, "If you beat this big guy, I'll consider living with you." Qin Haodong glanced at her and saw the excitement in the girl's eyes. She was really a belligerent girl. "That's what you said. Do you mean it?" Li Meiyu said excitedly, "Of course, as long as you can beat him." Zhong Angua looked at Qin Haodong and said, "What do you think? Do you dare or not? Why not? Tell me what you want to compete with. You can choose." Qin Haodong said very casually. As Emperor Green would, how could he take such a small figure seriously? Zhong Angua held the basketball in his hand and quickly spun it on the index finger of his right hand. Let's compete in basketball. Let's fight one-on-one. Okay. Qin Haodong agreed without hesitation. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. The scene immediately exclaimed. The other side, who looked gentle and weak, actually agreed. Everyone was very clear about Zhong Anggua's skills. He was the captain of the school basketball team. He was very strong. He dribbled the ball in all kinds of fancy ways and had endless scoring methods. His violent dunks were even more exciting. Many of the people present were his fans. Now, a freshman who had just arrived actually wanted to challenge someone on the basketball court. Wasn't he courting death? Oh no, this guy will be tortured to death by Boss Zhong. The ignorant are fearless. The freshman who just arrived doesn't know how terrible Boss Zhong is on the basketball court. This guy wants to be a protector, but he has to see if he has the strength. For a while, there was a lot of discussion. In short, no one was optimistic about Qin Haodong. Everyone was inclined to Zhong Angua. Zhong Angua was full of confidence. He glanced at Qin Haodong with disdain, turned around and walked towards the basketball court. Qin Haodong followed closely behind. After returning to the court, Zhong Angua raised his hand and threw the ball. The ball flew out directly, and Qin Haodong raised his hand to catch it. Let's do something simple. The first to get 20 points will be the winner. You can attack first. Zhong Angua was full of confidence. In a one-on-one fight, the offensive side had the advantage, but he didn't care. The court was his world. He was confident that he could defeat the toy boy in front of him. Chapter 462. The game officially began. There were more and more students around, and the proud look on Zhong Angua's face became more and more obvious. The more people there were, the better. When he showed off his power and beat this gigolo boy, the little beauty next to him would definitely take the initiative to throw herself into his arms. Thinking of this, he felt that the blood in his body began to boil. His condition was so good. Come on, boy. He shouted proudly to Qin Haodong. Bang! 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 Qin Haodong casually patted the basketball in his hand a few times. Although he had played basketball a few times before, he was not very proficient. But it was different now. He was a strong man at the third level of the supreme power realm and had an extremely powerful spirit. The basketball immediately became extremely simple in his hands. He dribbled the ball to the three-point line. Just when everyone thought he was looking for a chance to break through, Qin Haodong suddenly threw the ball in his hand. Suddenly, he threw the ball in his hand out. His movements were still as casual as ever. What the F***ck, can this work? Does he really think he's the three-point king? I think he's scared by Boss Zhong. He doesn't dare to dribble the ball, so he can only rely on his luck. Seeing Qin Haodong start to shoot, Zhong Angua, who had been in a defensive posture, also straightened his back. Similarly, he was not optimistic about Qin Haodong. This guy didn't seem to even know how to shoot. He just threw the ball casually. How could the ball go in? But when he turned his head to get the ball, he was surprised to find that the basketball drew a beautiful arc and went into the net with a swish. 3-point. This three-point shot was like a heavy hammer, which immediately quieted the noise around. What the F***ck, when did three-point shots become so easy? Can they be thrown in so easily? Luck, it must be luck, otherwise the ball wouldn't have gone in. No one had expected Qin Haodong to be so confident that he would make a three-point shot as soon as he came up. What they didn't know was that under the lock of the spirit, Qin Haodong's basketball was more accurate than the guidance of the radar. Although he lost a ball as soon as he came up, Zhong Angua didn't care too much. In his opinion, Qin Haodong was completely lucky. He could win once by luck, but it was impossible to win twice. He picked up the basketball, patted it, and threw it to Qin Haodong again. "Boy, try again if you can." Qin Haodong took the basketball and smiled at him. This time, he didn't even bother to dribble the ball. He directly raised his hand and threw the ball. Others were shooting, but he was just throwing. He just threw it casually. What is this guy doing? Is he really that accurate? Zhong Anghua looked back at the basket. With a swoosh, the basketball went into the net again. Not only Zhong Anghua, but the other people also opened their mouths wide in surprise. Not only was Zhong Anghua stunned, but the others also opened their mouths wide in surprise. If the first ball was a stroke of luck, then what about this one? If this was also luck, then his luck was too good. Qin Li, Qin Anghua. You, Li, it. Anghua, Zhong. He, Zhong, Li, man. It. It was said to be a one-on-one duel between the two of them, but up to now, Zhong Anghua had not even touched the ball. Qin Haodong did not give him any chance to counterattack. Qin Haodong did the same with the third ball. It was the first time that Zhong Anghua had seen basketball play like this. The onlookers were petrified. This was the first time they had seen basketball being played like this. He has scored 9 points in a row. Although this guy's shooting action is not standard, or even not shooting at all, his accuracy is amazing. Boss Zhong is in trouble. If this goes on, he will score 21 points. He will score 9 points in a row. Don't talk nonsense. I have lived for more than 20 years, but I have never seen anyone score 7 3-pointers in a row. Don't talk nonsense. I have lived for more than 20 years, but I have never seen anyone score 7 3-pointers in a row. And in the next game, Boss Zhong will definitely not give him an easy chance to shoot 3-pointers. As long as he misses, the ball will fall into Boss Zhong's hands. At that time, with Boss Zhong's ability, it will not be a problem for him to score 20 points in a row. After Qin Haodong scored 3 3-pointers in a row, the situation on the court changed dramatically. The one-on-one game, which was originally thought to be one-sided, suddenly became suspenseful. The people watching the game widened their eyes and concentrated, looking forward to the performance of the two men in the next game. At this time, Zhong Anghua's expression was completely gloomy. His eyes were fixed on Qin Haodong opposite him, releasing a gloomy look. "Boy, you hit it very well. It turns out that you are a sharpshooter. I won't give you another chance to shoot." After a loud shout, he did not directly throw the ball to Qin Haodong. Instead, he brought the ball near the 3-point line and handed it over. Then, he immediately put on a tight defensive posture. This time, no matter what, he could not give the other party an easy chance to shoot. Bang! 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 Qin Haodong did not launch a strong attack as people expected. Instead, he walked back with the ball. Looking at his leisurely appearance, it was as if he was shopping. Should he follow or not? Just as Zhong Anghua was hesitating, Qin Haodong suddenly hooked his hand. Suddenly, he hooked his hand, and the basketball in his hand drew an arc and flew toward the basket. Damn, how can this work? I can see that this kid only knows how to shoot 3-pointers. He doesn't know how to play at all. Although he is leading now, he will definitely not win. A big hook 3 meters from the 3-point line. I have lived for so long, but I have never seen it. With my many years of playing experience, this will never go in. No matter how everyone discussed it, everyone's eyes followed the arc of the basketball in the air and moved forward. It definitely won't go in. Zhong Anghua also looked back at the basket. With a crisp sound, the basketball was like a launched missile. It hit the basket accurately, and it went into the net through the air. 4 goals in a row. It's already 12 points. This was like a loud slap in the face. It made those who were not optimistic about Qin Haodong shut up. The whole audience fell into dead silence. However, After a short silence, a burst of cheers immediately broke out. Although most of these people supported Zhong Angue, Qin Haodong's sharpshooting skill was so wonderful that they could not help but applaud. It's unbelievable. He can hook the ball from so far away. There is no such skill in the NBA, right? This time, Boss Zhong is in trouble. He has met his match. Along with the deafening cheers, more and more people gathered here. If there had been so many spectators at the beginning, Zhong Angue would have laughed very happily. But now it was different. His expression was so gloomy that it seemed that water could drip out. He had played basketball for so many years and had played one-on-one with others countless times, but he had never been so aggrieved. He had a lot of skills, but he was not given a chance to use them at all. He could only watch the other party shoot over his head. Uncle can bear it, but aunt can't bear it. Zhong Angue looked at Qin Haodong with resentment in his eyes. He picked up the basketball again and walked toward Qin Haodong step by step. This time, he looked very serious. After putting on a defensive posture again, he threw the basketball to Qin Haodong. And at the moment when Qin Haodong caught the ball, he immediately closed in. This kind of close defense outside the three-point line made many people who had just come to watch the game very puzzled. It was still so far away from the basket. Why did Boss Zhong close in to defend? Wasn't he afraid that the other party would break through if the gap was too big? Just when these people were surprised and puzzled, Qin Haodong began to dribble the ball. He took a step back, and Zhong Angue took a step closer as if he was facing a formidable enemy. In his opinion, he had a great height advantage. As long as he stuck close to the other party, there would be no chance for him to make a move. Shoot, 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 under Li Meiyu's leadership, many busybodies couldn't help shouting. The biggest highlight of this game was whether this kind of inhuman three-point shot could continue. But soon, everyone found that Qin Haodong was forced to retreat by Zhong Angue. He was getting farther and farther away from the three-point line. So far, he didn't seem to have any intention of breaking through. This guy is finished. I can see that he can't dribble the ball to break through at all. It's useless even if he can break through. With Boss Zhong's speed, he can't break through at all. It seems that it's useless to lead by 12 points. This guy can only shoot three-pointers. He can't do anything else at all. Just when everyone was not optimistic about Qin Haodong again, a scene that made their eyes drop appeared again. They saw Qin Haodong turn his back to the tall and strong Zhong Angue. He actually held the basketball in his hands and threw it to the basket behind him. What the F***ck, what is this? Is this the legendary old lady carrying a pot of urine? There was no doubt that Qin Haodong's shooting method was the most unpopular move in the basketball world. Generally, it was used by people who didn't know how to play basketball. Everyone called it the old lady carrying a pot of urine. But it was this kind of unorthodox move that made Zhong Angue helpless. He couldn't get the ball through Qin Haodong. The basketball flew out of Qin Haodong's hand, drew a big arc, and finally went into the net with a swish. The whole audience was silent. Everyone's hearts were broken. How could there be such a F***king way to play? He didn't even look at it. He threw the ball with his back to the basket, and it was the most unpopular old lady carrying a pot of urine. But the ball went in. It was useless to be angry. Zhong Angue stood there in a daze. It was not that he was incompetent, but the other party. The other party didn't play according to the routine at all. Even the basketball emperor Boluan Zhang couldn't defend against this kind of shooting method. 5 consecutive three-pointers and the score on the court was 15-0, which had completely stunned the captain of the basketball team. He took the basketball in his hand again and said with a gloomy expression, "Do you only know how to shoot three-pointers? Can't you do something else?" He wanted to provoke Qin Haodong and make him change his scoring method. There was no other way. This kind of three-pointers had made him desperate. "No, because I like it." Qin Haodong smiled at him. After taking the ball, he quickly threw another incredible three-pointer. Zhong Anghua had no courage to look back. He could guess from the cheers next to him that the ball had gone in again. He really couldn't understand. How did this guy's hands grow? How could he make 100% of the shots? Could it be that his brain was equipped with a radar? The fact was not much different from what he had guessed. The spirit in Qin Haodong's sea of consciousness was more accurate than a radar. There was no suspense in the game. In the end, Qin Haodong completely crushed Zhong Anghua with another three-pointer and won the game with a wide score of 21-0. There was a burst of cheers and applause for Qin Haodong. Li Meiyu, who was excited, rushed over and gave Qin Haodong a big hug. Zhong Anghua stood on the court with his eyes full of anger. He shouted at Qin Haodong, "I don't accept it. It's not fair. If I had the ball first, I would have been able to beat you 21-0. Lu Wei and the others also shouted, "That's right. If Boss Zhong hadn't given the ball to him, he wouldn't have had a chance to shoot at all." Li Meiyu glared at them and shouted, "Don't you have any shame? It was the big man who handed over the ball. How can you blame others?" Chapter 463. Under the attention of thousands of people, although Zhong Anghua knew that he was in the wrong, he still couldn't let go of his pride and shouted, "If you have the ability, let's compete again. Let me go first." Qin Haodong glanced at him and thought that this guy was too shameless. It was him who pretended to give the ball to him first. Now that he lost, he didn't admit it. Since he was shameless, then he would slap his face hard. He said, "Okay, that's what you said. Don't regret it." Seeing that Qin Haodong had agreed, Zhong Anghua was immediately overjoyed. In his opinion, the guy in front of him could only shoot three-pointers. He couldn't compare with him in other aspects at all. As long as he had the ball, the other party could only watch helplessly. "Of course I won't regret it. I'll beat you until you look for your teeth on the ground." After he finished speaking, he took the basketball and walked directly to the service line. The people who were about to leave saw that there was something interesting to watch, so they all retreated to the periphery of the court and continued to watch with great interest. Zhong Anghua grabbed the basketball with one hand, as if the court had been controlled by him. He shouted to Qin Haodong, "Are you ready? I'm going to kick off." "Okay, come on." Qin Haodong said very casually. He also stood very casually. He didn't raise his arm like Zhong Anghua had just done, nor did he take a defensive posture. He didn't look like a player at all, but more like a spectator on the sidelines. Rookie. Zhong Anghua was even more convinced that this was a rookie who couldn't play. Bang! 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 He dribbled the ball forward, and Qin Haodong still followed him very casually. "Since you don't know how to defend, then I'll show you my three-pointers." After making up his mind, Zhong Anghua made a beautiful stop, then jumped high and threw the basketball out with both hands in a very standard posture. After the ball was thrown, a smug smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This time, he felt very good, and the three-pointers would definitely be scored. Good ball. Boss Zhong is also going to shoot three-pointers, Lu Wei and Zhang Chao shouted excitedly. They also hoped that their boss could win this game. But before they finished shouting, they saw Qin Haodong's figure suddenly appear in the air. He raised his right hand high and slapped the basketball that had just been thrown. F***CK. He blocked Boss Zhong's shot. Not only were the audience around surprised, but even Zhong Anghua was extremely surprised. He was 1.95 meters tall, while Qin Haodong was only 1.80 meters tall. There was such a big gap between the two of them. In addition, he was making a backward jump shot. Generally speaking, it was impossible to be blocked. However, this guy in front of him was a monster. Something that was clearly impossible became possible for him. But things did not end there. The basketball that was slapped back by Qin Haodong hit Zhong Anggua's left face with a bang. The force was so great that not only did it swell Zhong Anggua's cheek, but it also made him unable to control the balance of his body. With a plop, he fell to the ground with a big butt. The whole stadium was silent. No one had ever seen such a vicious block. After being stunned for a moment, Zhang Chao and Lu Wei immediately rushed up and pointed at Qin Haodong, yelling, "What are you doing, boy? Who plays like you?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Why? He shot and I blocked. What's wrong with that? Did I break the rules or are you guys too sore to play?" Zhang Chao and Lu Wei were suddenly at a loss for words. Although Zhong Anggua's hit was not light, Qin Haodong's block was clean and neat. There was no sloppiness, let alone a foul. If they were hit, they would have to suffer in silence. Li Meiyu also ran to Qin Haodong's side. She glared at the two of them and shouted, "What are you doing? It's just a block. It's an accident that it hit someone. Are you going to act shamelessly?" The people around also began to talk. Everyone stood on Qin Haodong's side without any objection. After all, whether it was football or basketball, there had never been a foul because the ball had hit someone. They could only hope that the player who was hit did not defend well. At this time, Zhong Angua stood up with his hand covering his red and swollen cheek. Although he was annoyed by the slap, he really could not find any reason to complain. He could only wave his hand to Zhang Chao and Lu Wei and let them leave. Qin Haodong picked up the basketball and turned it in his hand. He looked at Zhong Angua and said, "I know you are not convinced. Let's do it again. The ball is still yours. Today, I will keep playing until you are convinced." His words were extremely domineering. He threw the basketball in his hand over. Zhong Angua took the ball. He was really not convinced. The guy on the opposite side did not show any signs of playing. How could he lose? It was a one-on-one duel. The game started again. It was still Zhong Angua who took the lead in controlling the ball. This time, he became more cautious. He dribbled the ball and kept breaking forward, looking for opportunities. Qin Haodong still followed him like he was shopping. He did not steal the ball, nor did he press forward. He seemed to be waiting for him to shoot. This time, Zhong Angua gave up the idea of being in the limelight. He directly dribbled the ball into the three-point line. He found a position he was best at and raised the ball to shoot. As soon as he raised the ball, Qin Haodong jumped up fiercely. His jump was amazing, blocking the offensive route of the basketball. A strange smile appeared on Zhong Angua's swollen mouth. It was just a feint. Qin Haodong, who did not have much experience on the court, was fooled. It was impossible for people to hang in the air forever. When Qin Haodong's body fell quickly, he jumped up fiercely. The basketball in his hand drew an arc and flew out. Good ball. Boss Zhong is really good. The guy on the opposite side can't even see the feint. He was fooled so easily. The game is finally back on track. This time, Boss Zhong will definitely score. Just when everyone thought that Zhong Angua would succeed this time, they saw Qin Haodong's toes gently touch the ground. His body, which had just fallen, jumped up again like a spring. This time, his speed was faster and he jumped higher. Then, he stretched out his right hand. With a snap, he once again blocked the basketball that had just flown out. So what if he was experienced? So what if his feint was realistic? He showed everyone that strength came first. Even though it was the second time he jumped up, Zhong Angua, who was still blocked, did not lose his temper at all. With a snap, the basketball that flew back like a cannonball hit Zhong Angua's right cheek, causing him to fall to the ground again. In this way, the right cheek was also swollen, and the left and right cheeks became exactly the same. Silence. The whole audience fell into dead silence again. Was this a coincidence or intentional? First, he hit the left cheek, and now he hit the right cheek. If it was not intentional, then it was too much of a coincidence. If it was intentional, then what kind of strength did he need to do it? Zhong Angua got up from the ground. Both sides of his cheeks were swollen, which made his eyes become slits. He looked at Qin Haodong angrily. He wanted to eat the little white face in front of him alive. He had been the overlord on the court since he was a child. He had never been hit in the face with a basketball like this. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It was an accident. It was really an accident. Your feint was too handsome, so I used a little more force. That's why I hit your face." Qin Haodong picked up the basketball with a smirk on his face and handed it back to Zhong Angua. "In order to apologize, let's do it again. The ball is still yours." Zhong Angua looked at the basketball in front of him. To be honest, he was really a little scared. Although the guy in front of him obviously did not know how to play basketball, he was a freak. He could even block the ball he threw the second time he jumped up. How could he play in this game? But if he did not catch the ball, he was afraid that he would have no face to return to the court in the future, let alone continue to be the captain of the school team. After hesitating for a moment, he finally took the basketball. Zhong Angua returned to the service line, then dribbled the ball forward and went straight to the basket. He was going to use his last trump card, which was a dunk. If he shot, he could rely on his excellent jump to block. If he dunked, he would see how he could defend. It was because he had this last trump card that he dared to agree to play another game with Qin Haodong. He dribbled the ball quickly and rushed to the basket with irresistible force. Seeing that the basket was in front of him, he jumped high. He held the ball with both hands and made a heavy dunk against the basket. He wanted to vent the depression and anger in his heart through this dunk. Dunking had always been the way to score the highest points in basketball, and the error rate was very low. In everyone's eyes, Zhong Angua's dunk was bound to be successful. But when the ball in his hand smashed from top to bottom to the basket, a big hand suddenly stretched out and blocked the basketball again. Originally, with Zhong Angua's height of 1.95 meters and his weight of nearly 100 kilograms, coupled with this violent heavy dunk, the strength of the basketball was amazing. Ordinary people did not dare to stop it, and they could not stop it at all. But the big hand in front of him was like a wall. Not only did the ball in his hand fail to dunk, but it bounced back fiercely and hit his forehead with a bang. Then, it flew high. Zhong Angua felt like he had been hit in the head with a stick. He suddenly felt dizzy. After landing on his feet, he could not stand firm at all. He took 7 or 8 steps back in succession, then fell to the ground with a plop and fainted. Everyone was dumbfounded. A dunk could be blocked, and he was knocked out by the basketball that was blocked. This was rare in the entire court. After being stunned for a moment, Zhang Chao and Lu Wei hurried forward and helped Zhong Angua to the bench next to them. They patted his cheek and pinched his philtrum, and finally woke him up. At this time, both sides of Zhong Angua's cheeks were swollen. Now, there was a big purple-blue bump on his forehead. It looked very strange. There was really no one else who could play basketball like this. He opened his eyes and looked at Qin Haodong. His eyes were full of anger and unwillingness. It was not that he could not accept failure, but he felt that he had lost so badly that he was about to go crazy with grievance. Qin Haodong looked at him and smiled. "What? You're still not convinced? Then I'll do something that will make you convinced." As he spoke, he picked up the basketball, went to the three-point line, and began to dribble the ball slowly. The whole audience quieted down. Everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Haodong. They did not know what he was going to do. Is he going to shoot a three-point shot? But just now, he even used the old lady's urinal. Is there a more difficult three-point shot? A weirdo like him can use his head to directly head the ball into the basket. It's also possible for it to enter the basket. When everyone was guessing, Qin Haodong suddenly moved. His figure was as fast as a gust of wind. Bang! 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 In the rapid dribbling sound, his footsteps came to the free throw line. At that moment, everyone's pupils shrank. Their lives were filled with strong shock. Is he going to perform a dunk from the free throw line? How is that possible? This kind of difficult action has only appeared in the NBA. No one in Wuxia has been able to complete it. Oh my God, he's really flying. Qin Haodong's body had already jumped up, holding the basketball with one hand, like an insufferably arrogant god of war. Chop! Then, there was a loud bang. Under the violent impact, the whole basketball stand shook. Chapter 464. After the dunk, Qin Haodong hung on the basket with one hand. At this moment, there was no doubt that he was the king on the court. This dunk shook heaven and earth and shocked the gods and ghosts. The whole court fell into a dead silence. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Qin Haodong as if they had been enchanted. Flop! With a leap, he jumped down in a carefree and unrestrained manner. He's so handsome. He's so handsome. I want to be his girlfriend. I want to marry him. I want to have children for him. Many of the onlookers were like infatuated girls. They looked at Qin Haodong, who was shining with a halo. Their eyes were full of little stars. Li Meiyu was so excited that her little face turned red. She clenched her fists and her heart beat much faster than usual. She found that the guy who was shouting to pursue her was quite handsome. Qin Haodong glanced at Zhong Anhua and the others, who were completely dumbfounded. What do you think? Are you convinced or not? At this moment, no one made a sound. He just asked casually and didn't need an answer. Then he walked up to Li Meiyu and reached out his hand with a smile. Li Meiyu's cheeks were rosy. She also reached out her white and tender little hand. Qin Haodong held her hand and they left the court together under the attention of everyone. The beautiful backs of the two people fell in everyone's eyes. Many people heard the sound of their hearts breaking. Some were for Qin Haodong, and some were for Li Meiyu. It was not until their figures completely disappeared that an earth-shattering exclamation broke out on the scene. What the F***ck, what did I just see? A gliding slash from the free throw line. Did Jordan come to our school? What the hell? He's obviously an Asian, and he's not as tall as Jordan. Where's the hero? Why did he leave? Please accept my knee. In the future, when you play basketball with me, you'll be convinced by him. In the midst of many discussions, Zhong Anhua and Lu Wei's faces were extremely pale. The earth-shattering slash just now suddenly shattered their confidence and made their eyes completely fall into darkness. Zhong Anhua's face was gloomy, or rather, it was swollen, which made people unable to see his emotions. He directly left with Lu Wei and the others. After Qin Haodong left with Li Meiyu, he turned to her and said, "Well, I've won. Do you want to live with me?" Li Meiyu smiled slyly and said, "I always keep my word. I've already started to think about it. I'll tell you the result when I'm done." Qin Haodong was speechless. Only then did he realize that the little girl had taken advantage of him. If he had known this, he, the Emperor Greenwood, would not have fought with those kids. But this problem had to be solved. If Li Meiyu didn't move to his place, he would have to secretly squat in front of the girls' dormitory at night. Seeing Qin Haodong's disappointed look, Li Meiyu smiled and said, "Why? Are you so eager to live with me?" Qin Haodong nodded desperately. He thought to himself, if you don't live with me, I'll have to live outside and eat and sleep in the open. It's really hard to be a bodyguard. It's not easy to earn 1 million a day. Li Meiyu said, "Then fulfill one more wish of mine. If you can do it, I'll move to your place." Qin Haodong looked at her doubtfully and said, "Are you sure you're not thinking about it this time?" I'm sure. As long as you can do it, I'll move to your house immediately. Qin Haodong said, well, tell me, what do you want me to do? Li Meiyu raised her hand, pointed to a poster next to her and said, I want tickets for the concert. Qin Haodong turned his head and saw a huge poster on the wall next to him. There was a beautiful female star on it. After seeing it, his heart skipped a beat. Isn't this Ouyang Shanshan? When did she come to Shanghai to hold a concert? Li Meiyu said, Ouyang Shanshan is my idol. It's a pity that I've never seen her live concert. As long as you fulfill my wish, I promise to live with you. Deal. Qin Haodong agreed without hesitation. It would not be easy for other people, but with his relationship with Ouyang Shanshan, it should not be too difficult to get 2 tickets. Li Meiyu said, are you sure you can get them? Ouyang Shanshan's tickets were sold out half a month ago. I went there a few times, but there were no tickets in the hands of the scalpers. Don't worry. Just wait to move to my place. While talking, the 2 of them had already arrived at the girls' dormitory. Because the campus management was very strict, boys were not allowed to enter the girls' dormitory, so Qin Haodong could only send them there. After the 2 of them exchanged phone numbers, Li Meiyu entered the dormitory, and Qin Haodong turned around and left. He was not in a hurry to report to the boys' dormitory. After all, there was Jia Shirhan at home, who did not even know how to use the gas stove. When he returned home, it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. After entering the door, he did not see the girl's shadow. Before going out, he had told Jia Shirhan to go out more and integrate into society as soon as possible. It seemed that this girl was really obedient. After thinking about it, he still felt a little worried. The current society was so complicated. Jia Shirhan was so simple and easy to deceive. It was better to go out and have a look. Qin Haodong walked out of the villa gate and slowly wandered nearby. After walking for a while, he saw a free market in front of him. There were many people gathered at the door. He did not know what had happened. With the mentality of watching the fun, he also walked over, but he was surprised to find that it was Jia Shirhan in the crowd. It was just that her situation did not seem to be very good now. Her cheeks were red, and her eyes were full of anger, while the people around her were pointing at her. Qin Haodong was not in a hurry to go over. On the one hand, he wanted to figure out what was going on. On the other hand, he also wanted to train Jia Shirhan and increase her ability to handle things. The people around him were all talking at once and discussing non-stop. Soon, he heard some clues. I really didn't expect such a beautiful girl to buy fruit with fake money. People nowadays really can't just look at the surface. Are they bullying the uncle who sells fruit because he doesn't know fake money? I heard that this girl took out 3 fake money at once. I really didn't expect that she is so beautiful, but her heart is so black. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Look at her, she looks so innocent, but she did such a dirty thing. Jia Shirhan was surrounded in the middle of the crowd. She was trying her best to defend herself. There was anger in her panic. Opposite her was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was using a tricycle to pull a cart full of fruits. The man had a fierce face. At this time, he was scolding Jia Shirhan with a fierce look in his eyes. He shouted aggressively, I have never seen a person like you. You actually used fake money to cheat poor people like us. Are we farmers uneducated? Do you know how difficult it is for us farmers to grow some fruit? I tolerated the 2 fake money you used before. I asked you to change it for me. Who knew that you would take out fake money again? It's too hateful. Call the police. Today, I must send you to the police station. People had always been used to sympathizing with the weak. After the middle-aged man said this, people once again pointed the finger at Jia Shirhan. That's right. You can deceive anyone, but you actually deceived farmers. Is it easy for farmers to grow some fruit? You are too shameless. This is bullying farmers for being uneducated. It's fine to spend one fake money, but you took out 3 at once. How long will it take for them to earn so much money? Jia Shihan was innocent and angry. She said, "You are talking nonsense. I didn't use fake money at all. I used the money given to me by the little brother. How could it be fake money?" The middle-aged man sneered and said, "Little brother. I guess your little brother is not a good person either. He is a trafficker who makes fake money. You are talking nonsense. The little brother is a good person. It is impossible for him to give me fake money." Seeing the person slandering Qin Haodong, Jia Shihan became more and more angry. "I don't care who your shitty little brother is. Anyway, the money you gave me is fake money. You must give me an explanation today, or you will go to the police station. You are talking nonsense. I didn't use fake money. That money is not mine. Not yours. Then whose is it? Could it be that I changed the money and cheated you?" The middle-aged man pointed at Jia Shihan aggressively and said, "Since you don't admit it, let's go to the police station and reason with the police." Jia Shihan's expression changed. As a girl who was not deeply involved in the world, she had an inexplicable fear of the police. At the same time, she also felt that going to the police station was very shameful. How would she explain it to Qin Haodong? After hesitating for a moment, she said, "I won't go." "Do you think I won't go just because you said so?" The middle-aged man said aggressively, "Didn't you just shout that I changed your money? Now I won't go just because I said so. Don't even think about it. Today, you must compensate me for my loss. 3 fake money is 300 yuan. You have delayed my business for so long. Compensate me another 200 yuan. You must compensate me 500 yuan. Otherwise, we will go to the police station." He looked at Jia Shihan with a sneer. "Little girl, it looks like you are young. Deal with the matter as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the news of you spending fake money gets out, what will the people around you think of you? I'm afraid you won't be able to get married in the future." Jia Shihan's face was full of anger. She clenched her fists, but there was nothing she could do in the face of this middle-aged man. "Brother, I didn't see that you really have the ability to bully an innocent girl like this." The person who spoke was naturally Qin Haodong. After understanding the matter, he couldn't stand it anymore. "Little brother, you are here." Seeing Qin Haodong, Jia Shihan hugged his arm and eagerly explained, "Little brother, I really didn't spend fake money. I used the money you gave me. It can't be fake." Qin Haodong patted her arm and comforted her, "Don't worry. I know everything. That guy is cheating you. You don't have to worry about it. Leave this matter to me." Jia Shihan nodded. Apart from her master, the man in front of her was the only person who could give her a sense of security. When the middle-aged man saw Jia Shihan's companion, he frowned and shouted, "Who are you?" Qin Haodong said, "I am the little brother who made fake money." The middle-aged man said, "Since you are together, then tell me, what should we do about today's matter?" "It's very easy." Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone and looked at him playfully. "One of us spent fake money, and the other made fake money. Don't you want to call the police? Call the police now and let them deal with it." His words surprised everyone. No one expected him to take the initiative to call the police. Jia Shihan grabbed his arm nervously. "Little brother, is it really okay to call the police?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't be afraid. The fake money is not ours. The police will give us justice." He glanced at the middle-aged man again. "Some people are bullying you because you are too simple and don't dare to call the police because you care about your reputation. That's why they dare to be so arrogant. But in fact, calling the police is the best way to deal with things." The middle-aged man's face changed. Then he shouted in a threatening manner, "Nonsense. When did I bully her? There are so many pairs of eyes watching. This little girl used fake money to buy my fruit. It's already very kind of me not to call the police to arrest her immediately. Do you still want to call the police now? Okay, call the police. Chapter 465. He originally thought that Qin Haodong was just bluffing and wanted to scare him. Even many onlookers thought so. However, Qin Haodong did not hesitate and directly called the police. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he clearly told them what had happened here and then reported the address. After hanging up the phone, he suddenly shouted at the middle-aged man, "Don't move." With this roar, everyone's eyes turned to the middle-aged man again. They saw that one of his hands was in the bag on his chest. Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward, stared at the middle-aged man and said, "I just called the police, and you want to transfer the fake money? What are you talking about? I don't have fake money." The middle-aged man argued, "I'm taking the things in my bag. What's it to you?" After he said that, he turned around and rode on the tricycle. It seemed that he was going to leave. Qin Haodong reached out and pulled out the key of the tricycle. He smiled and said, "Brother, you asked me to call the police. Now I have called the police. Why are you in a hurry to leave? And don't touch the bag on your chest. Now everyone is watching. It will be bad if you are misunderstood as moving the stolen goods. Boy, do you want to F***king die?" The middle-aged man looked fierce and stared at Qin Haodong fiercely. "I have to do business. I don't have time to play with you. Get out of here. I won't argue with you." As soon as he said that, the people around him also saw that something was wrong. There is obviously something wrong with this guy. This is a sign of a guilty conscience. He just shouted that he would call the police. Now that they really called the police, he wants to run away. This is a guilty conscience. We almost wronged that little girl just now. We can't let him go. Such a big man actually bullied a little girl. It's outrageous. The situation took a sharp turn. Although everyone was still angry, the spearhead turned to the middle-aged man. Seeing that things were not good, the middle-aged man stared fiercely at Qin Haodong, who was standing in front of the car. "Are you going to get out or not?" As he spoke, he also touched a watermelon knife that was more than a foot long on the tricycle. It was full of threat. "Little brother, be careful," Jia Shihan shouted anxiously. The others also shouted, "Young man, be careful. He is a cornered dog." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "It's okay. I've never been afraid of dogs since I was a child. The last thing I'm afraid of is a cornered dog jumping over a wall. You're F***king courting death." Seeing that time was ticking away, and the police were about to arrive, the middle-aged man finally lost his mind. He picked up the watermelon knife in his hand and fiercely stabbed Qin Haodong. Who would have thought that this guy would really dare to make a move? Screams rang out from the surroundings. The crisp sound of "pa-pa" could be heard. Of course, Qin Haodong was not hurt by the watermelon knife. On the contrary, he grabbed the middle-aged man's wrist, and the watermelon knife fell to the ground with a clang. Then he slapped the man's face several times. "You're a pretty big man, can't you have some shame? Not only did you use fake money to cheat people, you even bullied a little girl. Does your mother know that you're so shameless?" Qin Haodong slapped him a few more times and then kicked him to the ground. People didn't see how Qin Haodong did it. They only saw him subdue the vicious middle-aged man. Cheers immediately rang out around them. "Good job, young man. Not only do you have guts, but you also have skills. Good job, young man. I'll give you a thumbs up, young man. Do you have a girlfriend? My niece doesn't have a boyfriend yet. How about I introduce her to you?" In the hustle and bustle, a police car drove over. The door opened and several policemen got out of the car. When Qin Haodong saw the policewoman, he was stunned. He almost suspected that he had crossed over to Jiangnan City. Wasn't this valiant policewoman Nalan Wuxia? You. Why are you here? Nalan Wuxia seemed to be very satisfied with Qin Haodong's reaction. She smiled mischievously and said, "Why? Didn't you call the police and ask me to come?" Qin Haodong said, "That's not what I mean. Shouldn't you be in Jiangnan City? Why are you in Shanghai?" Nalan Wuxia said, "You're allowed to come to Shanghai, but I'm not allowed to come." What else did Qin Haodong want to say? Nalan Wuxia waved her hand and said, "Let's get down to business first. We'll talk about other things later." She pointed to the middle-aged man who had fallen to the ground and said, "What's going on?" Qin Haodong told her what had happened. Nalan Wuxia turned around and said, "Go and search him. See what's in his bag." "Yes, Sheriff." The two policemen answered and went over to take the bag on the middle-aged man's chest. In an instant, they found a lot of fake banknotes in it. The truth was revealed. This guy was a swindler who used fake banknotes to deceive people. Qin Haodong helped Jia Shihan get back the money that belonged to her. On the way, he packed a few kinds of fruits. He had been cheated by this guy, so he had to get some interest. After the matter was settled, the middle-aged man was handcuffed by the two policemen and escorted to the police car. Qin Haodong pulled Nalan Wuxia to the side and said, "What's going on? When did you arrive in Shanghai?" Nalan Wuxia said, "Today is my first day at work. It's really a coincidence that I ran into you and called the police. Aren't you a captain in Jiangnan City? Why did you come to Shanghai to be a sheriff? The difference in rank is too big." Nalan Wuxia smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Whether it's a captain or a sheriff, it's of no use to me. You. Is it worth it?" Qin Haodong knew very well that Nalan Wuxia gave up her position as the captain of the crime squad and came to Shanghai to be an ordinary policeman. All of this was because of him. Of course it's worth it. The ancient said that a husband must stay within 10 feet of his wife. Otherwise, it's easy for him to run away. Although you're just a person I like, you can't be too far away. Nalan Wuxia smiled, pointed to Jia Shihan next to her, and said, "Sure enough, I didn't watch you for a day, and you hooked up with a little beauty so soon." Qin Haodong knew that Nalan Wuxia was joking with him, but his heart was still full of gratitude. "Forget it. I'm on duty today, and I still have things to do. Remember to invite me to dinner when you're free." After Nalan Wuxia finished speaking, she took her people to the car and went back. The surrounding people saw that there was no more excitement to watch, so they slowly dispersed. Qin Haodong said to Jia Shihan, "How was it? Did I scare you just now?" Jia Shihan bit her lip and said, "Did you see that? I'm not that timid. It's just that guy is really annoying. There are so many bad people nowadays." Qin Haodong said, "This society is very complicated. There are many good people and bad people. Since you want to enter society, you must learn to distinguish between good and bad people and learn how to protect yourself. That's why I asked you to come out and enrich your experience." Jia Shihan nodded. "I see." Qin Haodong thought about it and took her to the mobile phone store across the street to buy a dummy mobile phone. "If you encounter any trouble outside in the future, call me as soon as possible. I'll help you solve it then." "Oh." Jia Shihan agreed and took the phone. The two of them bought some dishes for dinner and then returned to the villa together. Back home, Qin Haodong taught her how to use the mobile phone and then said, "You should find a job. Making money is secondary. The main thing is to quickly get in touch with society." Jia Shihan said, "I understand this, but I only know how to play the piano. I don't know anything else." Qin Haodong thought about it. This was a problem. The little girl in front of him was half ancient. It was really not easy to find a job in this society where education was required everywhere. He suddenly thought of something and said, "I'll help you find a job to play the piano. Do you want to do it?" Jia Shirhan nodded and said, "Yes, as long as I can play the piano." Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone and dialed Ouyang Shanshan's number. In the Shanghai Stadium, the concert would officially be held tomorrow. Ouyang Shanshan was making intense preparations. The main song of this concert was her latest song, called Baidu Yearning. This was a very ancient song. It was very pleasant to sing, but she always felt that the accompaniment of her band could not match her singing. There was always something missing. But it was no wonder. She sang ancient songs, and the instruments used in modern times were electronic keyboards, electric guitars, pianos, and other new instruments. Although they could also play beautiful music, they were still a little inferior in terms of taste and feeling. After an afternoon of joint practice, the others felt that the singing effect was very good. Only Ouyang Shanshan was still not very satisfied. At this moment, her cell phone rang. When she saw the name displayed on the screen, her breathing suddenly became rapid. For so many days, that strong figure often appeared in her dreams. She missed him but couldn't meet him. It was because of this that she created this 100 Days of Lovesickness. The reason why this song was almost perfect was because it expressed her heart. She took a deep breath and picked up the phone with slightly trembling hands. "Haodong, is that you?" They hadn't seen each other for a long time, but she did not feel unfamiliar with this man at all. On the contrary, she directly changed Mr. Qin to a more intimate name. "Superstar, I heard that you are going to hold a concert in Shanghai, right?" "Yes, it's tomorrow. It's a pity that you can't come to watch it." Ouyang Shanshan's heart was indeed very regretful. This song was written for this person. It was a pity that he could not come to watch her concert. Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Who said that?" "I'm in Shanghai now. I'll go to your concert tomorrow night." "Really? You're not lying to me?" Ouyang Shanshan suddenly became excited. "Of course I'm not lying to you. I'm living in the #1 district of Shanghai now. Do you have time now? Come to my house, I'll treat you to dinner." "I have time. I'll go now." Ouyang Shanshan hurriedly agreed. These days, she had been looking forward to seeing Qin Haodong again. Now that she finally had the opportunity, she would not miss it. "Well, I'll send you the address." After saying that, Qin Haodong hung up the phone and sent his location over. Ouyang Shanshan hung up the phone and hurriedly took off the rehearsal costume. Zhao Xijia, the agent next to her, quickly said, "Shanshan, what are you doing?" She was the top agent who had recently been sent to Ouyang Shanshan's side. She had always felt that Ouyang Shanshan was calm and had the temperament of a star. She had never been so flustered. Ouyang Shanshan said while changing her clothes, "I'm going to see a friend. But our concert is going to start tomorrow, and we have to rehearse today." "It doesn't matter. Aren't we almost done with the practice this afternoon? Tell everyone to rest tonight and rehearse tomorrow morning." In Ouyang Shanshan's opinion, the fact that Qin Haodong could ask her to have dinner alone at home was absolutely more important than anything else. Perhaps that man also had her in his heart. After that, she called the driver and hurried to the #1 district of Shanghai. Chapter 467. Sitting in the car, Ouyang Shanshan's mind began to tumble. The scenes of her and Qin Haodong reappeared in front of her eyes. After leaving Jiangnan City last time, she found that she had fallen in love with this handsome little doctor. Because of Qin Haodong's appearance, she was saved from the fate of being given away as a gift. Because of Qin Haodong's appearance, she had established her position as the top sister in the company. Because of Qin Haodong's appearance, she no longer had to worry about being given away as a gift, nor did she have to worry about socializing with those fat bosses who coveted her beauty. She didn't know when it started, but as long as her brain was idle, that handsome face would immediately appear. After drinking for more than 20 years, she finally tasted what lovesickness was like. At the same time, she also knew that this man was too outstanding. He had several girlfriends by his side, so she had never confessed. She just silently hid this love in the bottom of her heart and used this yearning to write her hit song, Baidu Xiangxi. But she didn't expect that when her concert was about to be held, Qin Haodong took the initiative to call her. Did her thoughts move God? Then, his thoughts flooded like a tide. Why did Haodong treat him to dinner tonight? Why did he treat her to a meal at home? Could it be that he also likes me? What if he asked her to stay at home at night? How should she respond if he did anything overboard? To reject or not to reject? The bodyguard and the driver finally sent her to Qin Haodong's house while she was lost in her thoughts. She naturally didn't need bodyguards here, so she let the driver and bodyguards go back to rest. She rang the doorbell, and Qin Haodong answered. "Superstar, why is your face so red? Are you sick?" Ouyang Shanshan was too embarrassed to say that it was the result of her imagination. She quickly said, "It's nothing. Maybe the weather is too hot." Qin Haodong said in surprise, "It's cool today, and there's no sun." Hearing his words, Ouyang Shanshan's cheeks turned completely red. She stuttered and explained, "I rehearsed in the afternoon, but the lights in the rehearsal hall were too hot." After that, she was afraid that Qin Haodong would ask another embarrassing question, so she quickly changed the topic. "Haodong, your house is so beautiful." She was very clear about the price of such a house. It would cost at least hundreds of millions of yuan. "It's nothing, a friend gave it to me." "When did you arrive in Shanghai? What are you doing here? How long are you staying?" "I just arrived yesterday. This time, I'm going to the Shanghai Medical College to study. I'm afraid I'll have to stay for a long time." Qin Haodong invited Ouyang Feifei into the living room. At this time, the dining table was full of dishes he had prepared. "It smells so good. I haven't eaten your cooking in a long time." Ouyang Shanshan had tasted his cooking in his home, so she knew that only he could make this kind of fragrance. "You can't eat it even if it's delicious." Qin Haodong stopped Ouyang Shanshan from reaching for the bowl and chopsticks. "Before we eat, we have one more important thing to do." "Something important? What is it?" Ouyang Shanshan asked in surprise. "I can't tell you now. You'll know later." Qin Haodong said, "Close your eyes first." "Oh." Ouyang Shanshan closed her eyes obediently, but she was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her throat. Generally speaking, this kind of situation was supposed to be a confession. Was Haodong going to confess to her? Was this the purpose of him inviting her to eat at home? If he really confessed, should she accept it? If she accepted it the first time, would he think that she was a very casual girl? If she didn't accept it, what if he was sad and didn't confess to her in the future? In just a short moment, Ouyang Shanshan's mind was filled with messy thoughts. At this moment, a melodious sound of an ancient zither sounded in her ears. The sound was really beautiful. It was full of classical charm, without any impurities, and was extremely pure. It was simply the sound of nature. The music was like a handful of clear spring water that could cleanse people's hearts. At this time, there were no messy thoughts in her mind, only music. At this moment, she found the feeling she was pursuing. If she wanted to perform the classical charm of a classic, the rhythm performed by the ancient zither was the most suitable. She couldn't help but sing, "In a dream, we meet again. When I open my eyes, I still miss him." The most unforgettable thing is his face. Qin Haodong originally wanted Ouyang Shanshan to evaluate Jia Shihan's ancient zither. If possible, he wanted Jia Shihan to find a job in Ouyang Shanshan's band. Now, looking at the two of them, one playing and the other singing, they cooperated seamlessly. Moreover, this song that he had never heard before was full of charm and deep yearning. It reminded him of the little fellow who stayed in Jiangnan, Lin Momo, Hu Shaoxian, Nailan Wushuang, Qi Wan, and the beauties he had met in the cultivation world. In the midst of his thoughts, he was stunned for a moment. After an unknown period of time, the sound of the zither faded and the singing continued. Only then did the three of them slowly come back to their senses. Qin Haodong was the first to applaud. "That's great. You played the zither well and sang even better. It's a match made in heaven." Ouyang Shanshan opened her eyes and looked at Qin Haodong standing next to her. She asked in surprise, "Haodong, didn't you play this?" Qin Haodong waved his hand. "I don't have that ability." Although he was also proficient in music, he couldn't reach Jia Shihan's artistic conception. Ouyang Shanshan grabbed his arm and asked eagerly, "Who played this zither? Where did you invite this ancient zither master? Can you introduce him to me?" The sound of the zither just now made her find the feeling she had been searching for these days. If she could let this person participate in the concert with her, her singing would definitely be more perfect. "An ancient zither master," Qin Haodong said with a smile, "You'll know when you see him." Qin Haodong clapped his hands and said to the room next door, "Shihan, come out and meet the big star." Ouyang Shanshan looked in the direction of Qin Haodong's gaze and saw a tall beauty holding an ancient zither slowly coming out. After seeing Jia Shihan, she understood why the ancient charm in the sound of the zither was so pure. It turned out that the player was a beauty with a classical charm. If she hadn't appeared in Qin Haodong's house, she would have thought that she was a character from ancient times. Qin Haodong introduced the two of them and then asked them to sit down at the table. The three of them ate and chatted. Ouyang Shanshan said eagerly, "Sister Shihan, would you like to join my band? We are lacking a master like you now." Jia Shihan didn't agree directly. She turned her head to look at Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong said, "Don't look at me. I'm only responsible for introducing you to each other. Now that my task has been completed, you can talk about the rest." Jia Shihan thought for a moment and said, "Sister Shanshan, can you tell me about your band? If I join, what do I need to do?" Qin Haodong nodded slightly. After hearing about the incident at the Hemming tea house, this innocent little girl had matured a lot. She knew to understand the specific situation before starting work. Ouyang Shanshan introduced the band's work. Qin Haodong said, "Let me ask for Shihan. How much is the salary?" "So much, is it okay?" Ouyang Shanshan said as she stretched out a finger. "Isn't it too little?" Jia Shihan said with some embarrassment, "My last job also had a monthly salary of 1,000 yuan, but it wasn't even enough to rent a house." "What 1,000 yuan? I'm talking about an annual salary of 1 million yuan. If there are concerts, the salary will be increased by 10,000 yuan each time. There will also be a year-end bonus at the end of the year." Ouyang Shanshan was very surprised. This little girl looked very smart, but she didn't seem to understand anything. 1 million yuan, so much? Jia Shihan was surprised at first. Then she thought about it and said, "Sister Shanshan, I'm sorry. I just want to stay in Shanghai. I don't want to leave here." Ouyang Shanshan said, "Why? Aren't you alone? Why do you have to stay here?" She really didn't understand Jia Shihan's decision. The salary she offered was not low. A woman had no family and no children. Why did she have to stay in Shanghai? I don't want to leave anyway." Jia Shihan didn't explain. The only reason she didn't want to leave here was that she didn't want to leave Qin Haodong. This complicated society made her a little afraid. Only this man could make her completely trust him. Only by staying here could she feel safe. Ouyang Shanshan said with some regret, "Let's talk about this later. Now, I'll sign a short-term contract with you. Help me complete this concert. I'll give you a salary of 100,000 yuan. Is that okay?" Jia Shihan didn't ask Ouyang Shanshan. Instead, she turned her head and asked Qin Haodong next to her. Seeing Ouyang Shanshan's puzzled eyes, Qin Haodong briefly explained Jia Shihan's origin and then said, Shihan came from the mountains. She doesn't have much experience in the world. She has very little social experience, so you have to teach her more in the future. After that, he said to Jia Shihan, this is very good. When you work, you can work with Sister Shanshan. When you rest, you can come back here. Jia Shihan nodded. I'll listen to you. After the three of them had dinner, there was another knock on the door. It was Yang Jinlong and Xiong Taijun. They had booked the entire clothing company and worked overtime. Finally, they managed to make Jia Shihan's clothes before dark. 2 fashion designers had made them. One was an antique-style costume, and the other was a modern costume. They had made more than a dozen sets of each type, filling 2 large boxes. Qin Haodong nodded with satisfaction. With these clothes, Jia Shihan didn't have to prepare clothes for tomorrow's concert. He took out 2 physique-improving pills and gave one to Xiong Taijun and Yang Jinlong. He knew very well that showing kindness and authority was the only way to control his subordinates. These 2 people had performed well today, so they deserved to be rewarded. After explaining the function and value of the pills, Xiong Taijun and Yang Jinlong swallowed them doubtfully. It didn't take long for them to feel that their bodies, which had been hollowed out by alcohol and women, were filled with energy in an instant. It was as if they had returned to 20 years ago. The 2 of them thanked him profusely. Today's flattery was not in vain. Not only did they get the approval of the great boss, but they also got such a great benefit. After they left, Ouyang Shanshan also left with Jia Shihan. Although she didn't get the expected confession when she came to Qin Haodong this time, she was slightly disappointed. However, she accidentally picked up a treasure like Jia Shihan. She had to seize the time to practice and strive to improve the cooperation between the 2 people to a perfect state at tomorrow's concert. Early the next morning, Qin Haodong had a simple breakfast and rushed to Jiangnan Medical College. Although he had finished reporting, he hadn't been to the dormitory yet. According to the school's regulations, the first half a month of school was military training time. During this time, he must live in the school dormitory. Chapter 468. This was also Qin Haodong's second time going to college, so he was very familiar with college life. He used the key to open the 508 dormitory that he was assigned to. It was a 4-person dormitory. The conditions were very good. It looked clean and tidy, but there was no one in the room. It seemed that the others had the same idea as him. They were not in a hurry to report here. The names had been pasted on the bedside. Qin Haodong found his bed, spread out his luggage, and simply tidied up his daily necessities. At that moment, the door opened and a guy who looked like a mountain of meat came in from the outside. The guy was about 180 meters tall, but he weighed about 120 kilograms. He was a very fat man. The fat man was carrying a lot of things in his hands. After entering the door and seeing Qin Haodong, he said enthusiastically, "Hello, brother. Are you the only one here?" "Yes, I'm the first one. The others haven't come yet." Qin Haodong helped him put the things in his hands on the bed. They lived on the 5th floor. The fat man was already panting after carrying so many things up. He took a few deep breaths, then reached out to Qin Haodong and said, "We'll be brothers in the same dormitory from now on. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ji Fubao. I'm from the northeast." Qin Haodong stretched out his hand and asked in surprise, "What's your name? Did I hear you right?" The fat man seemed to have adapted to other people's reactions and said, "You heard me right. My name is Ji Fubao." Qin Haodong couldn't help laughing. "Dude, your name is so rich." Ji Fubao said helplessly, "Things are unpredictable. There's nothing I can do. My family's surname is Ji, which was left by our ancestors. No one can change it. My mother's surname is Fu. They had a son when they were old and treated me as a treasure, so they gave me the name Ji Fubao. Although the name was a little old-fashioned, it was still acceptable. Who knew that Ji Fubao would appear later? Strictly speaking, they infringed on my name. Qin Haodong said with a smile, in fact, it's not bad. It makes your name easy to remember. It also adds a lot of happiness. With your name, you can't not get rich in the future. Ji Fubao was extremely forthright. He also laughed. After that, the two chatted for a while. During the conversation, Qin Haodong knew that the fat man was from the northeast. His family was a famous real estate developer. He was a rich second generation. Ji Fubao brought many bags with him. In addition to some essential daily necessities, the rest were all local specialty snacks. No wonder this guy was so fat. There was a reason behind it. He took out some snacks and gave them to Qin Haodong. They chatted while eating. At this time, the door opened again and the third roommate came in. This person looked much more handsome than the fat Ji Fubao. They were both 1.85 meters tall. Although he wasn't as handsome as Qin Haodong, he was still a handsome guy. The two helped him put his luggage away. Ji Fubao pulled him over to sit down and stuffed a handful of snacks into his hands. Then, the three of them chatted again. They introduced themselves one after another. After hearing Ji Fubao's name, the man burst into laughter as expected. Ji Fubao said, "Brother, you haven't told me your name yet." The handsome boy stopped laughing, and a strange look of awkwardness appeared on his face. Ji Fubao said, "Why? What's so embarrassing about asking for a name? Could it be that your name is even more domineering than mine?" The handsome boy smiled awkwardly again and said, "My name is Tian Buguang." After hearing that, the fat man jumped up and cried, "Wow, there's someone with this name. Although it's not as domineering as my name, it's more obscene than mine." After saying that, he laughed. His name had always been the focus of everyone over the years. Today, he finally met someone who was funnier than his name. There were some things that could not be explained. Since he had already revealed his name, Tian Buguang no longer cared. "I can't help it. My parents are both doctors. When they were in school, they were good children and good students. No one has seen Master Jin's the smiling, proud Jianhu, nor do they know that there is a famous rapist, Tian Buguang. According to the order of the family, our Tian family uses the word bo in this generation. They hope that I can bring honor to my ancestors, so they gave me such a magical name." As soon as he finished explaining, Tian Buguang's cell phone rang in his pocket. He picked up his cell phone and was about to go out to answer it, but he was stopped by Ji Fubao. "We will be brothers in the future. It will be troublesome if you always go out to answer the phone. Just answer it here. Dongzi and I promise we won't talk." Tian Buguang thought for a moment and pressed the answer button. He heard a sweet female voice coming from the microphone, "Dear, have you arrived at school yet? You must pay attention to your health. Don't talk to other girls. I'll visit you in a few days." After hanging up the phone, Ji Fubao's eyes lit up and he said, "Brother, do you have a girlfriend?" Tian Buguang nodded. Ji Fubao said with great envy, "I really envy you people. You can find a girlfriend at will. It's a pity that I'm still single. Being fat really ruins everything." While he was talking, Tian Buguang's phone rang again before he had time to put it away. After he answered the phone, it was similar to the previous one. Ji Fubao was showered with affection again. This time, after he hung up the phone, Ji Fubao's eyes almost popped out of his fat face. He asked in surprise, "Another girlfriend?" Tian Buguang said coquettishly, "I can't help it. I'm too handsome. These girls always want to be my girlfriend. If I don't agree, they will try their best to be my girlfriend." That's why I have more girlfriends. As soon as he finished speaking, the third phone rang again. It was basically the same as the first two. It was his girlfriend again. This time, Ji Fubao couldn't sit still anymore. He jumped up from the bed and grabbed Tian Buguang's neck with his two big hands. I'll strangle you, you rapist. Girls are being taken by people like you. Do you even consider the feelings of us single people? The two of them played for a while. Qin Haodong reached out and pulled them away. Ji Fubao sat back down, panting. He said to Tian Buguang with great resentment, "How many girlfriends do you have?" Tian Buguang said, 4 or 5. Is it 4 or 5? How would I know? The number changes every day. There are 2 more who are pursuing me. I haven't decided whether to accept them or not. F*CK, do you want to piss me off? Ji Fubao was about to pounce on Tian Buguang again, but he was quickly stopped by Qin Haodong. Dongzi, do you have a girlfriend? Ji Fubao wanted to find some comfort from Qin Haodong, but he was disappointed. Qin Haodong nodded and said, in this day and age, as long as you are not too fat, who doesn't have a girlfriend? You. Do you want to piss me off? Ji Fubao said angrily, let's go drink. It's my treat. Today, I must drink you 2 rapists to death. It was already noon. The 3 of them talked and laughed all the way to the school gate. There was no lack of restaurants in a place like a university. The 3 of them found the best hotel and ordered the best dishes. Ji Fubao was indeed worthy of his name. He was rich and his expression did not change at all. The 3 of them had a good time eating and drinking. However, considering that one of their roommates had not arrived yet, they did not drink too much. After eating, they walked into the school together. Ji Fubao said, in the future, we will be brothers in the same dormitory. There must be a ranking. Everyone, tell me your age. After the 3 of them said their birth dates, Qin Haodong was the oldest, Ji Fubao was the second, and Tian Buguang was the youngest. The word second had a unique meaning in the northeast, so Ji Fubao was very dissatisfied with his ranking. He quickly said, I have a new suggestion. How about we rank according to our weight? I'm 230 pounds. I'm the eldest. Tian Buguang immediately said, how can that be? If that's the case, I suggest that we rank according to our height. I'm 185 meters tall. I'm the eldest. Qin Haodong looked at the 2 of them with a smile and did not speak. He enjoyed the sincere feelings between classmates very much. At that moment, 7 or 8 gangsters came over. The leader was a skinny monkey with a big gold chain around his neck. They came in front of the 3 of them. The skinny monkey stared at Qin Haodong and said, boy, I heard that you were very arrogant as soon as you arrived at this school. Although Ji Fubao looked very rough, he still inherited his father's merchant blood. Seeing that the situation was not right, he quickly stepped forward and said, this is my brother. Big brothers, what can I do for you? We can discuss it. Why don't I invite you to have a drink together? Tian Buguang looked at these gangsters. Although he was a little nervous, he still said, yes, we are all freshmen who have just registered. Is there any misunderstanding? The skinny monkey pushed Ji Fubao away and said, what misunderstanding? It's none of your business. Hurry up and get as far away as you can. Don't meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, I'll deal with you too. These people came aggressively. Ji Fubao whispered in Qin Haodong's ear, brother, did you offend someone? Qin Haodong had just registered at the Shanghai Medical College. He could guess who had found these people. It must have something to do with Zhong Angua yesterday. Of course, he didn't take these gangsters seriously, nor did he want to implicate his 2 roommates he had just met. You guys go back to the dormitory first. I can handle it myself. Ji Fubao was immediately unhappy when he heard that. What are you talking about? Since we live in the same dormitory, we are brothers. It's just a small matter. I'll handle it for you. Compared with Ji Fubao, Tian Buguang looked a little nervous, but he still said, yes, no matter what, the three of us have to bear it together. Bear my ass. Do you know who we are? The skinny monkey shouted aggressively, find out who my brother monkey is. You can't afford to offend him. Get out of here. Today, we will teach this kid a good lesson. Did you hear that? Brother monkey is doing something. Get out of here. Another yellow-haired gangster shouted. F***ck off. Brother monkey, I'm Beiji. Ji Fubao reached out and picked up a brick from the side. He glared at them and shouted, it's just a F***king fight. Go to the northeast and ask around. I've never been afraid of anyone in a fight. It could be seen that he was really not afraid of fighting. At that moment, the fat brother had a brick in his hand. He had the pride of having the world under his control. That's right. It's just a fight. What's the big deal? Although Tian Buguang was a little scared and his legs were trembling, he also picked up a brick from the side and stood behind Ji Fubao. Since he had already said that they were brothers, he naturally couldn't admit defeat at the critical moment. If he turned around and ran away at this time, how could he be brothers in the future? However, he was not as fierce as Ji Fubao. He thought that one more person would be able to take a few more punches. Idiot, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The skinny monkey waved his hand behind him and said, take care of these three boys together. Chapter 469. After receiving the skinny monkey's order, the people behind him rushed up with bricks in their hands. I'll fight with you. Ji Fubao roared. He rushed over like a mountain of flesh with the brick in his hand. Tian Buguang followed closely behind him. Although this guy had the name of a rapist and had countless girlfriends, he was a complete rookie when it came to fighting. If his parents knew that he had a group fight on the first day of school, they would be so angry that they would have surgery for him. This place was not too far from the gate of the Shanghai Medical College. Many students saw the situation here, but no one knew the three freshmen. They all chose to watch from afar. Beat them hard for me. The skinny monkey jumped and shouted. Ji Fubao's momentum was the fiercest, and he was the most loyal. He stood in front of Qin Haodong and Tian Buguang. However, in terms of fighting experience, he couldn't compare with these gangsters who had been fighting for a long time. As soon as he rushed over, a gangster slapped the brick in his hand toward his big face. However, these gangsters didn't know that the person behind the fat man was the biggest killer. The gangster was waving the brick when he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his wrist. Then, the brick fell to the ground. At this time, he had already rushed in front of Ji Fubao. In the face of this situation, the fat brother certainly wouldn't be lenient. He slapped the brick in his hand hard. The gangster screamed and fell to the ground with his hands covering his head. In the eyes of others, Qin Haodong and the other two were surrounded by these gangsters. They must be in danger. They might have to report to the hospital before going to school. However, they didn't expect that those gangsters would be slapped to the ground by the brick in Ji Fubao's hand one by one. They screamed again and again. In less than a minute, Qin Haodong and the other two were still standing there intact, while the gangsters fell to the ground, including the skinny monkey, who was also slapped by Ji Fubao with a brick. Ji Fubao didn't expect himself to be so brave. He held the brick in his hand and shouted majestically, "Who else? Fat brother, you're too fierce. You'll be my boss in the future." Tian Buguang said with a thumbs up. The people around were also talking about it. Who is this fat man? He can actually fight 7 or 8 people alone. He's really fierce. These hooligans are really useless. So many of them were defeated by a single person. Hearing the praises of the onlookers, Ji Fubao shouted proudly, "For so many years, I have never lost a fight. At this point, he turned his head and shouted at Skinny Monkey and the others, "What are you looking at? Get out of here." Never in his wildest dreams did the Skinny Monkey expect that he would be beaten like a dog after bringing 7 or 8 people to cause trouble for a university student. In the face of this fatty with amazing combat power, he didn't even dare to let out a fart. He led his men and fled with their tails between their legs. Ji Fubao threw the brick in his hand on the ground and shouted triumphantly, "You dare to fight with your fat brother? Practice for a few more years." Patting the dirt off his hands, he turned to Qin Haodong and asked, "How are you? Are you okay?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "How can we get hurt when you are so powerful? You're just too amazing." In fact, he had been helping from behind. Otherwise, no matter how fierce Fatty was, he wouldn't have been a match for so many people. Tian Buguang also said, "Fat brother, from now on, you will be my full-time bodyguard. If you go out to pick up girls in the future, your safety will be guaranteed." "Bah, I don't have time to help you pick up girls." As they were talking, a devastatingly beautiful face suddenly appeared in front of them. Oh my God, was this beauty charmed by Brother Fatty's bravery just now? Ji Fubao wiped the saliva flowing out of the corner of his mouth and immediately strode toward the beauty. He held his head high and chest out, looking heroic and outstanding. He even felt how tall his fat body was. When he arrived in front of the beauty, he was about to stretch out his fat hand, but he saw that the beauty directly bypassed him and walked toward Qin Haodong behind him. The beauty who had fascinated Ji Fubao was Li Meiyu. She said to Qin Haodong, "The concert is about to start. Why are you still fighting here? Did you buy the tickets or not?" Ji Fubao turned around, looked at Qin Haodong in surprise and said, "Dongzi, is this your girlfriend?" Qin Haodong nodded. "Let me introduce you to my girlfriend, Li Meiyu." At this point, Li Meiyu interrupted him and said, "Who promised to be your girlfriend? I just said that I would give you a chance to pursue her. Now you haven't got the ticket yet. If I can't see Ouyang Shanshan tonight, there's no need to talk about it." Qin Haodong said, "What are you talking about? Isn't it just a concert ticket? I guarantee that you'll see Ouyang Shanshan face to face tonight. It won't be a problem even if you take a photo with her for dinner." Just as he said this, he saw 2 pairs of wolf-like eyes staring at him. Ji Fubao rushed over and hugged Qin Haodong tightly in his arms like a bear. "Brother, can you get tickets for Ouyang Shanshan's concert?" Tian Buguang also rushed over and hugged his shoulder tightly, saying, "Boss, I'm a hardcore fan of Ouyang Shanshan. You must take me with you." "What are you doing?" Qin Haodong pushed them away. "I'm not a beauty. Why are you hugging me like this? Don't let anyone think we're doing something." "Boss." Ji Fubao's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Boss, I'm Ouyang Shanshan's die-hard fan. As long as you can get tickets for her concert, I'll be yours. Don't talk about doing anything." Qin Haodong couldn't help but feel a chill. "Stop it. You're just a pile of meat. You don't even like women. How can I like you? I can." Tian Buguang rushed forward and shouted, "I'm more handsome and thinner than him. Boss, how about you pay for me? Take care of me." Qin Haodong quickly said, all right, don't disgust me anymore. Besides, I ate lunch for nothing." Ji Fubao said again, "Brother, as long as you can get me a ticket, I'll pay for your meals for the next 3 years." Tian Buguang said, "As long as you can give me a ticket, I'll pay for all your clothes and socks in the future. I promise I'll wash them for you. As long as you can get me a ticket, you'll be the well-deserved boss of our dormitory in the future. If anyone objects, I'll fight with him immediately." In order to get tickets for Ouyang Shanshan's concert, the 2 of them kept making promises and signing a number of contracts. "All right, isn't it just a ticket? I'll give it to you now." After saying that, Qin Haodong reached out and took out 4 concert tickets from his pocket. "These are tickets for tonight's concert. One for each of you. As he spoke, he gave the tickets to the three of them. Yesterday, Ouyang Shanshan had sent him 4 tickets in total. Originally, he wanted to sell 2 at the door for some pocket money, but now he didn't have the chance. Li Meiyu took the tickets in her hand and looked at them carefully. She exclaimed, "Oh my God, these are the best VIP tickets in the front row. How did you get them?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "It's very simple. I just called Ouyang Shanshan and she sent me the tickets." "Keep bragging." The three of them rolled their eyes at him at the same time. Qin Haodong shook his head helplessly. In this day and age, no one believed the truth. Ji Fubao said, "The VIP tickets in the middle of the front row are usually not for sale." "Boss, are you sure these are not fake tickets?" Tian Buguang followed and said, "Boss, fake tickets are illegal. We won't be arrested, will we?" Qin Haodong glared at them and said, "Do you want them or not? If you don't want them, give them back to me." "Yes. Yes. Yes, I'm just joking with you," the two of them hurriedly said. Qin Haodong looked at Li Meiyu again and said, "How about it? Did I overcomplete your task? Is it time to fulfill your promise? Well, I'll move to your place tonight, but during the military training, the school doesn't allow me to leave the dormitory. I have no choice." Hearing the conversation between the two of them, Tian Buguang and Ji Fubao's eyes suddenly widened. "Boss, you're moving too fast. Are you going to live together now?" Li Meiyu said with a blush, "What nonsense are you talking about? We're just living together, not cohabiting." "Not cohabiting, not cohabiting." "We understand," the two of them said that, but their faces were dirty. Everyone could see what they were thinking. Qin Haodong knew that the more he explained, the worse it would get. He immediately changed his target and said, "Beauty, let me introduce you. These two are my new roommates. This is Ji Fubao, and this is Tian Buguang." Ji Fubao. Tian Buguang. This method was really effective. After hearing their names, Li Meiyu suddenly couldn't help laughing. 2 hours later, they arrived at the venue of Ouyang Shanshan's concert. Although there were still 2 or 3 hours before the concert began, there was already a sea of people in front of the venue. Moreover, there were all kinds of fans. The influence of the singing queen was indeed not to be underestimated. There were huge posters of Ouyang Shanshan everywhere. Fanatical fans were shouting with loudspeakers everywhere. These people made the peddlers who sold fluorescent lights, stickers, and banners everywhere make a lot of money. There were also some die-hard fans who didn't buy tickets everywhere asking for tickets. Some held a lot of money in their hands, some acted pitiful, and some even held banners. "Give me a ticket, I'll be your girlfriend." The fat brother Ji Fubao's appearance was even more exaggerated. The left side of his face had the words "Ouyang" written on it, and the right side had the words "I love you" written on it. He looked like a die-hard fan. Tian Buguang was not to be outdone. He held a flag in each hand and kept waving it and shouting. In contrast, Li Meiyu was much calmer than them, but she was also dressed up. A white silk dress made her exquisite figure even more perfect. She was wearing a pair of high-heeled crystal shoes that were more than 10 centimeters high, which made her look even taller. She was even taller than Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong glanced at her and said, "There are so many people watching the concert. Aren't you afraid that people will take advantage of you if you dress like this?" Li Meiyu glared at him and said, "What do I want you for?" Alright, you win." After saying that, Qin Haodong asked Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang to stand on both sides, while he stood behind Li Meiyu. The three of them formed a triangle to protect her in the middle. Tian Buguang poked Ji Fubao and said, "Fat brother, don't you have a girlfriend? The female fan over there is quite pretty. Why don't you give up your ticket?" Ji Fubao said, "Come on, I'm Ouyang Shanshan's crazy fan. Even if I stay single for the rest of my life, I won't sell the tickets." This is the closest chance for me to get close to Ouyang Shanshan in my life. Speaking of this, he said with a smirk on his face, if you are willing to exchange the ticket in your hand for a girlfriend, I will take care of you for a few years in college. I'll raise you. Chapter 470. Tian Buguang held the ticket tightly in his hand and said righteously, stop dreaming. I can't betray Shanshan even if I betray my girlfriend. Ji Fubao said with a smile, you speak as if you are a serious person. How many times have you betrayed your girlfriend? As he was speaking, the smile on his face suddenly froze, and then he let out a scream like a pig being slaughtered. Tian Buguang was shocked. What the F***ck, fat brother, what are you doing? Are you trying to blackmail me? I'm telling you, no matter what you do, I won't give you the ticket. The people around were also shocked by Ji Fubao's deafening howl. What's wrong with this guy? He didn't get his ass kicked in broad daylight, did he? Although that person's voice wasn't loud, it was clearly heard by the few of them. However, at this time, Ji Fubao could not care so much. He grimaced in pain, and his white and clean fat face had swollen to the color of a pig's liver. He held his left foot with both hands and jumped on the ground with one leg. Li Meiyu said, fat brother, what's wrong with you? Ji Fubao's expression eased a little. He pointed to a girl in a halter dress in front of him and said, she stepped on my foot. They all looked at the girl's feet. She was wearing a pair of red high-heeled shoes, which were not inferior to Li Meiyu's. They were more than 10 centimeters high. Looking at the thin and long high heels, which were not much different from nails at the bottom, everyone panicked for Ji Fubao. Although it was already September, the weather in Shanghai was very hot. Ji Fubao was only wearing a pair of sandals. It would be strange if he felt good after being stepped on by such high-heeled shoes. At this time, his fat foot had quickly swollen like a pig's trotter. It looked blue and purple, which was unbearable to look at. The torment was quite fast, but the girl acted as if she didn't see it. She didn't care about Ji Fubao at all. Tian Buguang poked her and said, hey, you stepped on my friend's foot. Only then did the girl turn around and look at Tian Buguang and Ji Fubao. She said impatiently, so what? I didn't do it on purpose. There are so many people here, and his feet are so big. Can you blame me? Ji Fubao was suddenly unhappy and said discontentedly, you stepped on me. Are you blaming me? In fact, he was not a petty person. Although he had been stepped on, if the girl had apologized, it would have been fine. However, he did not expect that this woman would not be reasonable at all. Not only did she not apologize, she even pushed all the blame onto him. If I don't blame you, who should I blame? Are you still underage? He's already an adult, yet he can't even watch his own feet. Who can he blame for getting stepped on? The girl seemed unwilling to give up. She looked down at her high heels, then raised her head and shouted, my shoes are limited edition from Hermes. They're worth 70 to 80,000 yuan. Can you afford to pay for them if they're damaged by your ankles? When she said this, she was confident and there was no apology on her face. On the contrary, her face was full of disgust and indifference, as if she had stepped on Ji Fubao's foot and blamed him. Tian Buguang said angrily, sister, what are you talking about? Could it be that my friend deliberately stretched out his leg for you to step on? What's wrong with me talking like that? Isn't it just stepping on someone's foot? It's not a big deal. Go back and be happy that you didn't break my shoes. Otherwise, you won't be able to afford it even if you sell yourself. At that time, she put her hands on her hips, showing a temperament that was completely inconsistent with her appearance. She looked like a quarreling shrew. Qin Haodong didn't take it seriously at first. He just stepped on her foot and apologized. However, not only did the woman not apologize, but she was also aggressive. She scolded Ji Fubao for breaking her high heels, which made him unable to stand it anymore. However, before he could speak, a tall man suddenly walked over to the girl's side and said, "Lingling, what happened?" The man was wearing a limited edition Armani summer suit and a Rolex watch on his hand. He had an arrogant look on his face. He came to the girl and said, "Why are you so angry? Who bullied you?" The girl pointed to Ji Fubao and said, "It's that fat man. He stepped on my shoes with his foot. These are the limited edition Hermes high-heeled shoes you bought for me. If they are broken, he can't afford to pay for it." After hearing her words, the man quickly squatted down and touched her white and tender ankle. He said with a distressed expression, "It doesn't matter if the shoes are broken. Did you hurt your foot?" "No, but this fat man is yelling. It's really annoying. It's as if it's my fault." The woman glared at Ji Fubao with disgust. Hearing the conversation between the two people, Ji Fubao's lungs almost exploded with anger. "Who are you calling a fat man? It was you who stepped on me, okay? I don't care if your foot is injured or not. My foot is injured. You must give me an explanation." Then he released his hand from his foot, pointed to the bruised foot and said, "Look at what happened to my foot. I almost stepped through it." The man stood up, looked at Ji Fubao with disdain and said, "You're a man. It's not a big deal. Why are you still yelling? Don't you feel ashamed?" Ji Fubao was furious. The woman was unreasonable just now. He thought that the man would be better, but he didn't expect that the guy was even more unreasonable. He said angrily, "You stepped on someone else's foot. Do you think you're in the right? I'm not asking you to apologize, but you should know your mistake, right?" The girl took the man's arm and said, "Wow, look at how fierce this fat man is. You must help me." She had been a fierce shrew just a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, she had become a little bird who was about to cry. This 180-degree change made many people secretly shake their heads. The man patted her on the shoulder and said, "Honey, this kind of person has no quality. Let's not bother with him." After hearing what he said, Qin Haodong was angry and amused. He found that he still knew too little about the world. Some people were far more disgusting than he had imagined. They had reached a state of shamelessness. He stopped Ji Fubao, who was about to go berserk, and said to the man, "It's obvious that you stepped on my friend's foot. How can you say that we have no quality?" The man glanced at Qin Haodong and shouted arrogantly, "Toy boy, how can you talk to me like that? Do you know who I am?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't need to know who you are. I just know that your woman stepped on my friend's foot. You must apologize." "You want me to apologize? Why?" The man said arrogantly, "Your friend didn't watch his foot. He deserved to be stepped on. You can't blame others." As soon as he said that, his face suddenly twisted in pain, and then he let out a scream like a pig being slaughtered. Just like Ji Fubao, he also jumped up while holding his left foot. Seeing the scene in front of him, Qin Haodong was a little surprised. He didn't expect that it would be Li Meiyu, who had been silent. She stepped on the man's foot with her crystal shoe, which was only a few centimeters long. The girl quickly held the man up, stared at Li Meiyu and shouted, "Are you crazy? Why did you step on him? What's the fuss? You're a man, and you're shouting because you were stepped on. Isn't it shameful? Besides, can you blame me? It's your man who didn't watch his foot. He deserved to be stepped on. You can't blame others." Li Meiyu threw back all the shameless words of the man and the woman. The girl was so angry that her eyes were full of fire, but she couldn't say anything. Sister-in-law is so powerful. Sister-in-law is so powerful. Sister-in-law, you did it when you should. Tian Buguang immediately gave Li Meiyu a thumbs up. Even Ji Fubao, who had been practicing jumping on one leg, laughed out loud. It was so King cool. This is called giving them a taste of their own medicine. Evil people need to be tortured by evil people. Li Meiyu glared at him and said, "Do you know how to talk? Who are you calling evil people? Ji Fubao quickly raised his hand and slapped his fat face. I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sister-in-law, you're doing justice and punishing evil. Only then did Li Meiyu's expression soften a little. She completely forgot that they were calling each other sister-in-law. The man covered his foot and shouted at Li Meiyu fiercely, "How dare you step on my foot? Do you know who I am?" Li Meiyu lowered her head and checked her crystal shoes. "No matter who you are, if you break my crystal shoes, you will have to pay for it." "But I guess you can't afford it." The girl cried, "What can't you afford to pay for that pair of broken shoes of yours? Can it compare with my limited edition Hermes shoes?" Qin Haodong suddenly felt a stomachache. He really couldn't understand the world of women. At this time, they were still comparing whose shoes were more valuable. Is Hermes very great? Is the limited edition very valuable? Li Meiyu said proudly, "My pair of crystal shoes was made by the Italian shoemaker Popov. They are all handmade. There is only one pair in the world and it is worth 1.2 million yuan. How is that possible? Why don't you say it is 12 million yuan? Your shoes are obviously fake. They can't be compared with my Hermes shoes at all." Seeing that the woman was still quarreling, Qin Haodong really felt a little annoyed. He bent his index finger and flicked it continuously. 2 invisible finger winds broke through the air. Wherever the finger winds passed, the limited edition Hermes high-heeled shoes that the woman was showing off broke from the heel. Such a pair of high-heeled shoes of more than 10 centimeters suddenly broke. The consequences were very serious. The girl lost her center of gravity and fell on her back. Not only was it a heavy fall, but the way she fell was also very special. Her legs were wide open, and the hem of her skirt was lifted up to her waist, exposing her lower body to everyone's sight. The eyes of the surrounding men were wide open. This woman was only wearing a pair of underwear. Interesting. Thong. It was said that it was a pair of underwear. In fact, the fabric of the thong was less than the size of a palm. It was completely a decoration. The material was also transparent, so the effect was not much different. It was estimated that the man and the woman were going to have sex directly after the concert, so they put on the underwear. What the hell? This woman is too bold, isn't she? She's so unrestrained. She's wearing a thong directly. She's really unrestrained, she's so unrestrained. She's wearing a thong directly. She's really unrestrained. Qin Haodong didn't care about this. He said to the woman jokingly, "Is this the quality of the limited edition Hermes high-heeled shoes? The heel broke just like that. Is it a fake?" At this time, the girl had no time to care about Qin Haodong's sarcasm. She quickly got up from the ground and tidied up her skirt. However, the pair of high-heeled shoes had become flat shoes. This situation looked really embarrassing. Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang were already laughing so hard that tears were about to come out of their eyes. Although it was said that good would be rewarded with good and evil would be punished with evil, this retribution came too fast, and it was really a slap in the face. As soon as the man showed off, he was trampled on by Li Meiyu's strength. The woman was bragging about how awesome and valuable her high-heeled shoes were. Who knew that the heel would break in the blink of an eye? God really had eyes. Chapter 471. The woman was ashamed and angry. She was so embarrassed by the fall just now. She no longer cared about her image and demeanor. She roared at Ji Fubao, "Damn fatty, did you do it? You broke my high heels." Ji Fubao didn't expect that he would be implicated. He held his injured foot and said, "I've been holding my foot and haven't moved. How could I have broken your heels? It's just that your shoes are fake. The quality is not good. How can you blame others?" The woman had no choice. She turned around and hugged the man's arm and cried, "Dear, help me vent my anger. Look at how they bullied me. The man endured the pain and put his injured foot on the ground. Seeing that the two of them had been defeated one after another, he felt that it was time to show his identity. He shouted to Qin Haodong and the others, "You've gone too far. Do you know who I am? I'm Zhou Guohao from the Zhou family in Shanghai." After that, he straightened his back. He felt that those people would immediately bow their heads and apologize when they heard his identity. They might even kneel down and beg for his forgiveness. However, after waiting for a long time, those people didn't respond at all. Seeing his pretentious look, Qin Haodong said to Ji Fubao and the others, "Have you heard of the Zhou family?" Li Meiyu shook her head directly, indicating that she didn't know. She came from Hong Kong and didn't know much about the situation in Shanghai. Tian Buguang said, "When I was in high school, there was a Zhou family's lamb soup pie shop at the school gate. The taste was not bad." Ji Fubao said, "There was a Zhou family's foot massage shop downstairs. It was destroyed by the police before I went to school. They arrested 20 or 30 prostitutes. After that, they laughed again." Seeing that they didn't take him seriously at all, Zhou Guohao was about to go crazy. However, he came to the concert today and the tickets were limited. He didn't bring any bodyguards. Although he was teased by them, he couldn't do anything. He could only shout bitterly, "I'll remember you. Just wait and see." After that, Zhou Guohao and the woman turned around and continued to line up. However, Zhou Guohao's foot was injured by Li Meiyu and he was limping. The woman's high heels had fallen off, so she looked very awkward. The two of them stood side by side, looking very funny. Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang, the two B***cheese, laughed so hard behind them. After laughing enough, Tian Buguang said, "It's so satisfying. I haven't been so happy in a long time." However, Ji Fubao said with some regret, "It turns out that your foot is not injured. These two guys stepped on my foot, but they are still unreasonable. It's fine if it's a woman. I never hit a woman, but I really want to slap that man." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "That's easy. I'll help you realize your wish right away." Ji Fubao said, "Boss, if you really do it, will it affect us watching the concert?" This was what he was most worried about. Otherwise, he would have beaten Zhou Guohao up just now. Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. We don't have to do it ourselves. Someone will do it for us later." "How is this possible?" The few of them didn't believe it. Tian Buguang said, "If someone can slap that guy's mouth, I'll give you enough water to wash your feet for a month." Ji Fubao said, "I'll treat you to drinks every day." Qin Haodong smiled slightly and turned to look at Li Meiyu. "Beauty, do you have anything to say? For example, give me a kiss or something?" Li Meiyu said, "How is that possible? You're not an immortal. As long as someone slaps Zhou Guohao's mouth, I'll give you a kiss." "Deal." Qin Haodong snapped his fingers and said, "I'll fulfill your wish in 10 minutes. The ticket check-in began and the crowd in the queue began to slowly move forward. In front of Zhou Guohao and the woman stood a young man and a young woman. The man was wearing a half-sleeve t-shirt and his muscles were bulging. It seemed that he often worked out. The woman was tall and wore a pink dress. Although her appearance was average, her figure was curvy, which made her look quite sexy. Qin Haodong chose a suitable opportunity. He quietly released an invisible force and patted the woman in the red dresses but. As a level 3 Supreme Power Master, it was easy for him to release his genuine chi and control the chi of heaven and earth. The force of this slap was similar to that of an ordinary person patting their buttocks. The woman in the red dress was chatting intimately with her boyfriend. Suddenly, her butt was slapped. She saw that her boyfriend's hands were in front of him, so she immediately turned around angrily. Zhou Guohao was standing behind her. Needless to say, it must be this guy who had slapped her butt. "You scoundrel, do you want to die?" The woman in the red dress was also shrewd enough. She suddenly raised her leg and stepped hard on Zhou Guohao's uninjured foot with her high-heeled shoes. Zhou Guohao was secretly thinking about how to take revenge on Qin Haodong and the others after the concert. When the woman in the red dress turned around, before he could figure out what was going on, he felt a sharp pain in his foot. He immediately grimaced and screamed. The woman next to Zhou Guohao was called Hao Lingling. When she saw the woman in the red dress suddenly turn around and step on Zhou Guohao's foot, she immediately said angrily, "You crazy woman, what are you doing? Why did you step on my boyfriend?" The woman in the red dress said angrily, "Take care of your man. If he dares to touch my butt again, I'll beat him." Zhou Guohao was so angry that he went out today. He had just been stepped on by the woman behind him, and now his other foot was stepped on by the woman in front of him. How could he live? He said angrily, "T, when did I touch your butt?" The young man naturally believed his girlfriend. He waved his fist at Zhou Guohao and shouted, "You're a disabled person, so I won't argue with you this time. If you dare to act like a hooligan again, I'll beat you up." After that, the two of them glared at Zhou Guohao, then turned around and continued to line up. Zhou Guohao was so aggrieved. As a member of the Zhou family, he had never suffered such grievances. However, there was no one around him now, so he could only endure it. Qin Haodong shook his head slightly. He had failed the first time, so it seemed that he had to try again. A few minutes later, he found another opportunity to touch the buttocks of the woman in the red dress with his genuine qi again. This time, the woman in the red dress was very powerful. She turned around and slapped Zhou Guohao's face twice without saying anything. Inexplicably, Zhou Guohao was hit so hard that he shouted angrily at the woman in the red dress, "Are you King crazy? Why did you hit me?" As soon as he finished speaking, he felt that it was dark in front of him. The young man gave him two more panda eyes. "Boy, if you dare to act like a hooligan again, I'll ask the police to arrest you." After saying that, the young man still felt uneasy. He changed his position with the woman in the red dress and stood in front of Zhou Guohao. "Boy, wait and see. All of you wait and see." Zhou Guohao was so angry that he was about to go crazy. What was going on? Ji Fubao and the others had clearly seen the scene of him being beaten. Seeing him being slapped by the woman in the red dress twice, they immediately felt happy. Tian Buguang gave Qin Haodong a thumbs up and said, "Boss, you're so awesome. You keep your promise. I'll take care of your socks." Ji Fubao also said happily, "Fat brother, I also keep my promise. From today on, we'll drink every day." Qin Haodong turned his head to look at Li Meiyu. Li Meiyu glared at him and asked in confusion, "How did you do it?" She had been by Qin Haodong's side the whole time, but she didn't see what he had done. How did the woman in the red dress in front of him slap Zhou Guohao twice? Do you want to know? Qin Haodong pointed to his cheek and said, "If you want to know, keep your promise first." He originally thought that Li Meiyu would not kiss him in public, but he had underestimated a woman's curiosity. Although Li Meiyu hesitated, she still kissed him on the cheek in the end. Then she asked with a red face, "Tell me, what's going on?" Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang kept their eyes wide open. Their sister-in-law was mighty. She did it when she should. Qin Haodong touched the cheek that had been kissed and said, "Actually, it's nothing. I was just guessing." Li Meiyu knew that she had been fooled. She reached out and pinched Qin Haodong's waist hard. In the eyes of others, this kind of small action was like flirting between lovers. Zhou Guohao endured the pain in his feet. With Hao Lingling's help, he finally found his seat. When he sat down, he was surprised to find that Qin Haodong and the other three were sitting in front of him. With Zhou Guohao's identity and status, he could only buy the tickets for the second row of the concert. That was because the tickets for the first row of the concert were not sold at all. They were reserved by the organizer for special guests with status. However, he couldn't associate the 4 people in front of him with their status and identity. How did these people get to the first row? He shouted to Ji Fubao, "Damn fatty, where did you steal these tickets from?" Hao Lingling also shouted angrily, "Do you know that the tickets for the first row are not sold at all? They are all given to guests with status. You must have taken the wrong seat. Hurry up and go back to your seats." These 2 people were obviously looking down on others. Normally, they wouldn't be so stupid. It's just that their hearts were filled with so much anger that they weren't very rational. Hao Lingling believed that if it weren't for this fatty, the heel of her limited edition Hermes wouldn't have broken, and she wouldn't have made a fool of herself in front of so many people. Even her most secret thong was exposed in front of everyone. Zhou Guohao thought that if he hadn't run into the fat man, he wouldn't have been so unlucky. Not only had his feet been injured, but he had also been slapped twice. Only then did Ji Fubao see that it was Zhou Guohao and Li Meiyu who were talking behind him. He immediately raised the tickets in his hand and said with a smile, "Fat brother has status. People with status are sitting in front of you. What's wrong? Are you very angry? Are you very unhappy? But there's no other way. There's a gap between people's identities. You can only sit in the back row." Zhou Guohao was so angry that he couldn't speak. Hao Lingling shouted, "You broke my high heels. You must give me an explanation today." The 2 of them vented their anger on Ji Fubao. "You 2 shameless bastards, are you done yet?" Ji Fubao was unhappy. Now his feet were swollen higher and higher. He couldn't even wear his sandals. These 2 guys actually wanted him to pay for their high heels. They were too shameless. Hao Lingling had completely forgotten the lesson she had received before. She arrogantly pointed at Ji Fubao's nose and shouted, "You broke my high heels. You must compensate me according to the price. Otherwise, I won't let you go." Zhou Guohao also shouted, "And that woman stepped on my foot. Today, I will also settle the score with you." Qin Haodong turned around and looked at the 2 of them coldly. "You want to settle the score, right? Then I will settle the score with you." Chapter 472. Today's foot-stomping incident was originally just a small matter, but this man and woman were clearly taking advantage of their power to bully others. They were unreasonable. Although his side did not suffer any losses, their endless entanglement was really annoying. Qin Haodong said in a cold voice, "Since you want to settle accounts, let's do it properly. Your woman stepped on my friend's foot. The medical expenses are 500,000 yuan, not a penny less, 500,000 yuan." Hearing this number, Hao Lingling suddenly screamed, "Have you ever seen 500,000 yuan? How can you ask for so much money? Are you crazy?" Zhou Guohao cried, "Lingling stepped on your friend's foot, but your woman also stepped on mine." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "You deserve it if my woman steps on your foot, but not if your woman steps on my friend's foot." Tian Buguang and Ji Fubao both gave him a thumbs up and said, "Boss, you're so domineering." Zhou Guohao was so angry that his whole body was trembling. In the past, he had always relied on the power of the Zhou family to bully others like this. He didn't expect that it would be his turn today. "Boy, is your friend a goldfoot? He's worth 500,000 yuan. If you want to blackmail you, you have to know who you're talking to. I'm from the Zhou family. You can't afford to offend me." Qin Haodong said, "Because he's my friend, so his foot is worth this price. I don't care if you're from the Zhou family or the Zhang family, you must compensate 500,000 yuan, or no one can leave here." Ji Fubao looked down at his big feet. It turned out that his feet could be so valuable. In the future, he must wash them every 3 days instead of once a week. Who is so domineering? How dare you look down on our Zhou family? A voice came from the side. It sounded very pleasant, but it was full of coldness. Qin Haodong and the others looked back and saw a young woman walking over. The woman was not old, only about 20 years old, but she had a strong aura. Her whole body was full of the majesty of a superior. In terms of appearance, she was not inferior to Li Meiyu at all. She had a slender waist, long legs, and a slender figure. The only flaw was that this woman was a standard airport, and her chest was too flat. Behind her were 4 bodyguards. They were tall and strong, and they walked silently. It was obvious that they were well-trained masters. Everyone reacted differently when they saw the woman. Tian Buguang shook his head slightly, put his arm around Ji Fubao's shoulder and said, "What a pity, what a pity." Ji Fubao also nodded frequently. Although the two of them did not say it clearly, they both understood each other's thoughts. They were sighing for this woman. It would be perfect if she was not at the airport. After seeing the woman, Zhou Tianhao immediately limped over. "Xinju, you're finally here. You must help your cousin." As he spoke, his face was full of flattery. Although he also claimed to be a member of the Zhou family, he was only a distant branch. The woman in front of him was completely different. She was the core figure of the Zhou family's 3rd generation and the current leader of the Zhou family, Zhou Xinju. Zhou Xinju glared at him fiercely and said in a cold voice, "You're causing trouble outside again. Go back and receive the punishment." Zhou Guahao shrank his neck and said in a low voice, "Cousin, I didn't cause trouble this time. It's obvious that they bullied our Zhou family. Alright, I still don't know what kind of person you are. Wait at the side and leave it to me." After Zhou Xinju finished speaking, she turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, "Who the hell are you? In Shanghai, there is no one who doesn't give face to our Zhou family." As she spoke, her aura became stronger and stronger. As the leader of the Zhou family, her aura was really amazing. If it was an ordinary person, they would probably have to bow down now. Unfortunately, she was facing Qin Haodong. Not only did he ignore her question, but he also stared at her chest. Zhou Xinju's face instantly became cold. What she hated the most in her life was when others looked at her chest. The more people lacked something, the more they cared about it. She also knew that she was at the airport, which was a fatal flaw of a woman. Because of this place had become a forbidden place that could not be violated. Usually, she couldn't even look at it, but the guy in front of her was staring at it as if he wanted to see through her clothes. Tian Buguang and Ji Fubao were also shocked. What was the boss doing? It was obvious that this woman was at the airport. She couldn't be compared with the perfect figure of their sister-in-law. So what was he looking at? Could it be that the boss had a special hobby and liked flat-chested women? Zhou Xinju said fiercely, "What are you looking at? Believe it or not, I'll dig out your eyes." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I'm looking at you. There's something wrong with your chest." As soon as he said that, Ji Fubao's good leg softened and he almost fell to the ground. What was the boss doing? Wasn't he looking for trouble by directly saying that her chest was not good? Seeing the tall and strong bodyguards behind Zhou Xinju, he had already begun to look around for a brick, wanting to prepare for the battle in advance. Sure enough, Zhou Xinju was furious. "You're courting death." She raised her hand and was about to give orders to the bodyguards behind her, but at this time, Qin Haodong's voice came into her ears, "If I'm not mistaken, although your chest is flat, you have breast cancer on both sides, and it's advanced. If you don't get treatment soon, your life will be in danger." Hearing this, Zhou Xinju immediately turned pale with fright. She put down her raised hand and looked around nervously. She was now at the helm of the Zhou family, and the Zhou family was a giant in the economic field of Shanghai. If the news that she had breast cancer spread, it would immediately cause a financial earthquake, and the consequences would be beyond imagination. There's no need to look. Only you can hear what I said to you. As a good doctor, Qin Haodong would naturally not reveal the patient's secret at will, so he had used the secret voice-sending technique just now. Only Zhou Xinju could hear him. Zhou Xinju looked around and saw that there was nothing wrong with the others. She calmed down a lot and turned her gaze back to the young man. Her expression became extremely complicated. She grew up in the Zhou family and had been outstanding in all aspects since she was a child. She was smart, beautiful, and shrouded in all kinds of halos. However, as she grew older, she found that the breasts of her companions around her were getting bigger and bigger day by day, but there was no reaction on her chest. Until she became an adult, she was still flat-chested, which was the legendary airfield. As a woman, she naturally wanted her chest to bulge, but God seemed to be deliberately against her. Not only did he not give her a pair of big breasts, but he also found out that she had breast cancer not long ago, and it was advanced on both sides. When she got the news, she almost collapsed. It was easy for people with big breasts to get this kind of disease, but she was already like an airfield. How could she get breast cancer? Wasn't he bullying her? Since then, her temper had become more and more irritable, and she was no longer as calm as before. This was also the reason why she had a conflict with Qin Haodong and the others tonight. But no matter how she felt, breast cancer was still breast cancer. Yesterday, the doctor gave her an ultimatum, asking her to have an operation within 3 days. Otherwise, it was likely to cause cancer cells to metastasize and endanger her life. However, Zhou Xinju was very unwilling to have this operation. Although her chest was a little small and almost flat, it was still there. If she really cut off such a little bit, would she still be called a woman? On one side was her life, and on the other side was a woman. This made her not know how to choose. At this time, Qin Haodong's voice sounded in her ear again, "Are you very distressed? If you don't have the operation, you will probably lose your life. If you have the operation, you will no longer be able to be a woman." Zhou Xinju took a deep breath and took a few steps forward. She came to Qin Haodong and whispered, "How did you know?" Her breast cancer had been in an absolute state of secrecy. If it was spread out, it was likely to cause a financial earthquake in Shanghai. Therefore, only she and her private doctor knew about it. She didn't understand how the young man in front of her knew. "I am a doctor, an excellent Chinese medicine practitioner. This is what I can see," Qin Haodong said, "I can cure your disease, and I don't need an operation." "What? You can cure it?" Zhou Xinju's body trembled with excitement, as if a person who had been thirsty in the desert for many days suddenly saw a water source. If her breast cancer could really be cured without surgery, she would be willing to pay any price. However, as the head of the Zhou family and a super genius with an IQ of more than 160, she quickly calmed down. "Why should I believe you?" "Because you have no choice." Qin Haodong said, "I don't know if your doctor told you or not, but in your current situation, even the operation may cause cancer cells to spread, and there is no guarantee of 100% success. If you believe me, you will have an extra chance. Even if I can't cure it, it won't have any negative impact on your disease, and you can still go for the operation tomorrow. If you are cured, you will finally get your life back, and you will also get a chance to be a woman. It's such a good deal. I believe you will know how to choose." Zhou Xinju was silent. This young man could see her condition at a glance, which showed that he really had some skills. As Qin Haodong said, if she let him treat her, it would be equivalent to having an extra chance, and she would not lose anything. "Tell me your conditions." In the end, she still made a choice, but she also knew that there was no free lunch in the world. The two of them met by chance, and even their current relationship was not harmonious. It was impossible for him to treat her for no reason. Qin Haodong said, "Of course there are conditions. First, let Zhou Guihao apologize to my friend and compensate 500,000 yuan for the medical expenses. Second." Speaking of this, he glanced at Zhou Xinju's chest and said, "My consultation fee is very expensive, 100 million yuan for each side. Of course, you don't have to worry about me cheating you. You can pay after you are cured." There were two reasons why he proposed to treat Zhou Xinju at this time. First, he was a doctor, and he couldn't bear to see such a young and beautiful woman die. Second, he didn't want to have a head-on conflict with Zhou Xinju. Although he didn't care about those bodyguards, it would affect Ouyang Shanshan's concert and expose his strength. Therefore, this was the best way to solve the problem now. He believed that this woman would definitely agree to his request. Sure enough, Zhou Xinju said without hesitation, "I promise you." Qin Haodong's offer to pay after the treatment made her more confident in this young man. She turned around and said to Zhou Guihao, "Apologize immediately and compensate 1 million yuan for the medical expenses." Zhou Guihao almost choked to death by his own saliva. He knew that his cousin was very protective, and he thought that she would definitely help him save face today. However, he didn't expect that Zhou Xinju would stop halfway through the order. After that, the two of them looked at each other with their eyes wide open. Now, they suddenly turned around and asked him to apologize and compensate, and even doubled the amount of compensation. What kind of situation was this? Could it be that his cousin had fallen in love with this gigolo? Chapter 473. Cousin. Zhou Guihao still wanted to say something, but Zhou Xinju didn't give him a chance to speak. She said in a tough tone, "Hurry up and do as I say. In the future, think about doing something serious and stay away from that kind of woman." He was still very afraid of Zhou Xinju, so he didn't dare to say anything else. He went directly to Ji Fubao, bowed, and said, "I'm sorry. We were wrong before. I'm willing to compensate for the medical expenses." Forget it, forget it. A great man doesn't stoop to petty offenses. I won't bicker with people like you. After Ji Fubao said that, he took out a bank card from his pocket and said, "Hurry up and transfer the money to me." Although the fat brother was not short of money, he was happy to spend it. Of course, the more, the better. You're asking for money. How is that not caring? Zhou Guihao cursed in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it. He obediently transferred 1 million yuan to Ji Fubao's card. At this time, the concert was about to begin. Everyone returned to their seats. What a coincidence. Zhou Xinju was also in the VIP seat, and she happened to be sitting next to Qin Haodong. After the two of them sat down, she whispered to Qin Haodong, "When will you treat me? My time is precious. Let's do it now." Qin Haodong said as he took out a physique-improving pill. He put it to Zhou Xinju's mouth and said, "Eat it." What kind of medicine is this? Does it have a production number? Zhou Xinju looked at the black pill and felt a little uncertain. After all, it was the first time she had met Qin Haodong. It's up to you whether you want to eat it or not. The medicine in the pharmacy has a production number. Can it cure your disease? This, as the leader of the Zhou family, no one had ever dared to talk to Zhou Xinju like that. But now, in order to treat the disease, she couldn't care less. After hesitating for a moment, she finally put the pill into her mouth. She already had the disease, so she didn't care if others poisoned her. After eating the pill, she originally wanted to drink a mouthful of water, but she didn't expect the pill to melt in her mouth. It quickly melted in her saliva and flowed into her stomach like a clear spring. She had taken so many medicines, but she had never seen such a magical pill. This made Zhou Xinju trust Qin Haodong a little more. After seeing her take the pill, Qin Haodong said, "Give me your hand." "What do you want?" Zhou Xinju said this, but she still obediently put her white and tender little hand in front of Qin Haodong. "To treat your illness, of course." After Qin Haodong finished speaking, he held Zhou Xinju's hand in his palm. He had to admit that this woman's hand was really nice to the touch. It was soft and boneless. Holding it in his hand was like holding a beautiful piece of jade, smooth and smooth. Moist and clean, making people very comfortable. Holding hands can cure diseases. Is this person trying to cure himself, or is he trying to take advantage of himself? Zhou Xinju was very confused. If it weren't for the physique-improving pill that made her more energetic, she would have thought that she had met a swindler. Qin Haodong didn't mean to take advantage of her. He really wanted to cure her. Cancer was a type of tumor. In the view of traditional Chinese medicine, tumors were formed by the accumulation of toxins in the human body. To cure cancer, the root of it was to clear the meridians and expel the toxins. There were two important causes of Zhou Xinju's breast cancer. First, she was in charge of the Zhou family and had not had a good rest for a long time. She had become ill from overwork and her body was very weak. Second, because of her flat chest, it made her depressed. She couldn't feel at ease, so she became like this. The physique-improving pill that Qin Haodong had given her just now was to improve her physique. Fundamentally speaking, it also needed to dredge the meridians and expel the toxins. If it was in the right place, Qin Haodong could use his genuine qi and gold needles to completely cure her breast cancer in less than 20 minutes. But this was a concert site, so needles were not suitable for treatment. He could only use green wood genuine qi to help her slowly dredge it. After Zhou Xinju's hand was held by Qin Haodong, she felt a warm airflow coming from her hand. This airflow was transmitted from her palm and then spread to her whole body little by little. It made her feel an unprecedented sense of comfort, as if she was soaking in a hot spring. The only difference was that there seemed to be two pieces of ice in her chest. She couldn't feel the warmth of the airflow. After the airflow circulated in her body, it slowly began to attack her chest. This kind of impact was very gentle, but it slowly melted the ice in her chest and increased the warmth little by little. Knowing that this was Qin Haodong using a unique way to treat her, Zhou Xinju no longer had any psychological burden. She just let him hold her little hand. She was relieved, but Li Meiyu was not happy. She glared at Qin Haodong. This guy kept saying that he wanted to pursue her, but in the blink of an eye, he hooked up with another woman. The two of them whispered at first, and then they interlocked their fingers. Did he still not take her seriously? It would be fine if the other party was more beautiful than her, but she was obviously a flat-chested woman. How could she be compared with her good figure? Did this guy have a special hobby? Did he like flat women? Ji Fubao was indignant. He thought to himself that his boss had gone too far. He went to hook up with another beauty in front of his sister-in-law, and he even succeeded. God is unfair. Why is such a good and pure man still single? Tian Boguang's face was full of admiration. He had several girlfriends, but they were all sneaky. He had never done it openly like this. Zhou Guohao sat in the back and looked at the two people in front of him with their fingers interlocked. He gritted his teeth with hatred. No wonder she asked me to pay 1 million yuan and apologized to the fat man. It turns out that she has taken a fancy to this gigolo. She used to pretend to be a saint, but it turns out that she's just a bitch. Hao Lingling had been silent since Zhou Xinju appeared. She sat there like an obedient girl, and her eyes flashed from time to time. No one knew what she was thinking. At this time, the concert finally began. In addition to Qin Haodong, Ji Fubao, Tian Boguang and the others were suddenly excited. This was the first time they had seen a star's concert up close. It was also the first time they were so close to Ouyang Shanshan. Even Li Meiyu turned her attention from Qin Haodong to the stage. Qin Haodong still held Zhou Xinju's hand, but when he looked forward, he found that it was indeed the best VIP seat. In front of him was the stage, and there was no cover. Ouyang Shanshan, I love you. Goddess. Goddess. Goddess, ah. Ah. Ah, there were shouts and screams, and the whole venue was boiling. Although Zhou Xinju was receiving the treatment of the green with genuine qi, she still looked excited. She glanced at the young man next to her. He was really special. Everyone else's faces were full of madness, but he was unusually calm, as if he was watching the performance of his relatives and friends. She couldn't imagine that Qin Haodong had just had dinner with Ouyang Shanshan last night. If he was still as excited as those fans, wouldn't he be crazy? As the lights dimmed, the audience became quiet. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the center of the stage. After about 7 or 8 seconds, a bright spotlight shone from top to bottom on the center of the stage. The lift platform in the center of the stage slowly rose. Under the attention of everyone, a beautiful figure in ancient clothes was sitting there with a 7-string zither in front of her. To everyone's surprise, the beautiful figure in ancient clothes had her back to everyone. Even through the big screens on both sides, they couldn't see who she was. This unique way of appearing immediately aroused the curiosity of all the audience. Who is this? Is it Shanshan? Looking at her back, she looks like. I don't think so, and Shanshan doesn't seem to know how to play the zither. Why is it impossible? Shanshan is a fairy who descended to the world. She knows everything. It's not surprising that she knows how to play the zither. In the whispers of discussion, the beautiful woman in ancient clothes flicked her 10 fingers, and a string of beautiful notes flowed out of the 7-string zither, like a clear spring that directly flowed into the depths of people's souls. Nice, it's really nice. I've never heard such beautiful music. This must be Shanshan. Except for Shanshan, no one can play such a beautiful sound of nature. At this moment, the stage instantly lit up. A graceful figure descended from the sky, and then a beautiful song sounded over the venue. We met in a dream. When I open my eyes, I still miss him. The most unforgettable thing is his face. As soon as the song began, Ouyang Shanshan brought an audiovisual feast to the audience with the song she had carefully created. 2 extremely beautiful figures, one moving and the other quiet, cooperated impeccably. The sweet voice and the melodious sound of the zither were simply a match made in heaven. One of them was devastatingly beautiful, and the other made people have infinite reverie. The cooperation between Ouyang Shanshan and Jia Shihan fascinated the entire venue. The audience either sang softly or clapped their hands. They all fell into their own thoughts. Although it was Qin Haodong's second time listening to this song, he couldn't help but be immersed in it, and his thoughts rolled. As if thousands of years had passed, the melody gradually subsided, the sound of the zither faded, and the singing lingered. The venue regained its calm, and then there was a tsunami of cheers and applause. It had to be said that the opening carefully designed by Ouyang Shanshan had achieved an unprecedented success, pushing the concert to its climax in an instant. People woke up from the beautiful melody. They found that the singer was Ouyang Shanshan, but who was the person playing the zither? Who is the beautiful woman playing the zither? I've never heard such a beautiful zither. Look at her back. She's so beautiful. I want to pursue her. The combination of 2 beautiful women is really unprecedented. I like it so much. It's so beautiful. How do you know it's a beautiful woman? I guess it must be an ugly woman. Otherwise, why didn't she turn around? Although Jia Shihan's unique way of appearing had aroused the curiosity of many people, the center of the entire venue was still Ouyang Shanshan. After singing the song, she smiled and said to everyone, "Good evening, friends." The audience suddenly screamed again. The fanatical fans seemed to have been injected with chicken blood, especially Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang. If it weren't for the security guards at the front desk, they would have rushed to the stage. Shanshan is saying hello to me. Ha, I'm so happy, get lost. Shanshan is obviously smiling at me, don't fight. The goddess is mine. Qin Haodong shook his head slightly. Wasn't she just saying hello? Did she have to be so excited? Zhou Xinzhu seemed to see through his thoughts and asked, "Don't you like Ouyang Shanshan?" Qin Haodong said, "I do, but what I like is her song." I think a lot of fans these days have forgotten this point. What you see is a celebrity's wonderful work, and what you like is the way she looks on stage. But a lot of people can't tell the difference. They just use one point to cover a person. Zhou Xinzhu looked at him with burning eyes and said, "Your thinking is very special." Chapter 474. Qin Haodong said, "I'm just stating a fact. Nowadays, many die-hard fans want to die for the stars they like. But if they really get together, I'm afraid that neither of them will be happy. It won't take long for them to be separated. Because if they are together, you will see all of them, not just a flash." Zhou Xinzhu said, "Do you mean that Ouyang Shanshan is not worthy of your love?" "I'm just saying that Ouyang Shanshan is not bad. The gap between her and the audience is not big." Zhou Xinzhu glanced at him and said, "You sound as if you are very familiar with her." Qin Haodong smiled. He was indeed very familiar with Ouyang Shanshan. Because the music was too loud, the two of them were very close when they talked. Their cheeks were almost touching each other's cheeks. They looked very intimate. Zhou Guihao watched the two of them talking intimately. He gritted his teeth and kept cursing, "Bitch! Bitch! Bitch!" Li Meiyu directly grabbed Qin Haodong's other hand and pinched the back of his hand hard. Qin Haodong grimaced in pain and exclaimed, "What are you doing?" But Li Meiyu turned her face away and ignored him. Zhou Xinzhu whispered in his ear, "Your little girlfriend seems to be jealous." "Jealous? That's impossible." Qin Haodong shook his head. Although he said that he wanted to pursue Li Meiyu, he didn't have any such thoughts. In his eyes, Li Meiyu was just a person who needed to be protected, and he was just a bodyguard. At this time, Ouyang Shanshan said on the stage, "Thank you for your support, friends. Just now, this is my latest song. Here, I want to thank the friend who gave me inspiration. Without him, there would be no Baidu longing. Without him, there would be no me today." After that, her beautiful eyes turned to the person in the front row. "Oh my God, who is so important to Shanshan? Who is he? He gave Shanshan so much help. Is Shanshan in love? Oh no, my heart is going to break. Shanshan must be talking about me. Her eyes are looking at me. I'm so important to Shanshan," Zhou Xinzhu said in Qin Haodong's ear, "What's going on? I think Ouyang Shanshan is looking at you." "That's impossible. She's a big star, and I'm just a small doctor. How could she see me?" Qin Haodong could feel Ouyang Shanshan's affection for him, but he already had several girlfriends, so he didn't dare to easily owe another one. Fortunately, this was just a small interlude in the concert. Soon, Ouyang Shanshan continued to sing and sang 4 songs in a row. Generally speaking, such a high-intensity continuous singing was a huge test for a singer's physical strength, but Ouyang Shanshan had taken the physique-improving pill, so it was not a problem for her. In the venue, the applause was thunderous, the shouts were earth-shattering, and the screams pierced the sky. The atmosphere of the concert was pushed to another climax. This was the charm of the Heavenly Queen. She could make her fans go crazy just by raising her hand. Qin Haodong asked Zhou Xinzhu, "How do you feel?" "Very good. I'm also a fan of Ouyang Shanshan. Her songs have always been very good, and the musician she invited today is also very good." The two of them cooperated almost perfectly, which made the ancient style of her songs more intense. Zhou Xinzhu kept talking. Qin Haodong said, "I didn't ask you about that. I'm asking how you feel about your illness." Oh. Only then did Zhou Xinzhu remember that Qin Haodong was treating her. She quickly felt it. At this time, her whole body felt as if it was soaking in a hot spring. It was extremely comfortable, including the 2 spots on her chest. The cold feeling had disappeared. What's going on? Am I already cured? In the past few days, her chest had been aching. It had never been so comfortable. Thinking of this, she immediately became excited and reached out to touch it. She completely forgot that it was very inappropriate to do this in public. However, everyone's attention was on the stage. Even Zhou Guihao was drooling while looking at Ouyang Shanshan's long legs. No one noticed her little movements. When her fingers touched her skin, the pain of needles was gone. She tried to press it, and the lump that could be clearly felt inside was gone. She pressed it hard again and searched carefully, but there was no sign of the lump. I'm cured. Am I really cured? She grabbed Qin Haodong's hand again and asked excitedly, am I really cured? Do I really not need surgery? Of course. Qin Haodong nodded. If you don't believe me, you can go to the hospital to have a checkup and then pay. Great, I don't need surgery. In excitement, Zhou Xinzhu held Qin Haodong's hand tightly to her chest. Tears fell like rain as she vented the great pressure and pain she had endured these days. Seeing the woman holding his hand tightly, Qin Haodong felt a little embarrassed. Fortunately, the woman's chest was really flat, so it didn't give him too much of a strange feeling. After a few minutes, Zhou Xinzhu slowly calmed down. She let go of Qin Haodong's hand, took out her mobile phone from her pocket and said, give me your card number. I'll transfer the money to you. Qin Haodong said, don't you need to go back and check it again? This is 200 million yuan, not a small number. No, I believe you. In the business world, Zhou Xinzhu had always been known for her decisiveness. At this moment, she did not hesitate at all. She did believe that Qin Haodong had cured her disease, and 200 million yuan was nothing to her. Qin Haodong took out his bank card, and soon the two completed the transfer. Since you believe in me so much, I'll give you another gift. Qin Haodong said as he took out a small jade bottle from his pocket and gave it to Zhou Xinzhu. Zhou Xinzhu took it and looked at it. There were two small pills, one red and one black, in the small jade bottle. She now knew very well that Qin Haodong's medicine was not ordinary. She asked, what kind of medicine is this? What does it cure? This is my exclusive breast enhancement and body shaping pill. After taking it, it can change the fat configuration of a woman's body. That is to say, it can transfer fat from other parts of a woman to her chest, playing the role of breast enhancement and body shaping. Are you serious? How is this possible? Zhou Xinzhu opened her mouth in surprise. If Qin Haodong hadn't just cured her of breast cancer, she would have thought that she had met a swindler. If it could have such a magical effect, then the value of this medicine would be too great. Why do you ask this again? How can the medicine in my hands be fake? Qin Haodong looked at her and said, do you want it or not? Don't give it back to me. Yes. Of course I want it. Zhou Xinzhu held the small jade bottle tightly in her palm. It had been her dream for many years to make her chest full. No one knew the desire of a flat-chested woman for breast enhancement. Qin Haodong smiled. This result was what he had expected. The woman in front of him was almost perfect except for her flat chest. How could she resist this kind of temptation? I just helped you dredge the blocked meridians in your chest and remove the toxins in your body. From now on, your body will automatically remove the toxins in about 2 hours. At that time, you can take the breast enhancement and body shaping pill. However, this medicine needs to be taken in 2 at the same time. Just as he said this, his expression suddenly changed, and a strong murderous intent rose from behind him. Oh no! There's a killer. Qin Haodong's body immediately tensed up. He thought that the killer was coming for Li Meiyu, but when he quickly turned around, he found a cold light slashing toward Zhou Xinzhu's neck. What surprised him even more was that the person who attacked turned out to be Hao Lingling, who was next to Zhou Guihao. At this time, this woman no longer looked like a gold digger at all. She held a sharp knife in her hand and her whole body was releasing a strong murderous intent. She was originally a very good killer. The reason why she fooled around with Zhou Guihao was to assassinate Zhou Xinzhu. She had very rich experience in assassination. Not only could she disguise herself very well, but she was also good at seizing opportunities. She had been enduring until Zhou Xinju's breast cancer was cured. She became emotional and lost her mind. Then, she launched a fatal blow. It had to be said that Hao Lingling's plan was very thorough and she grasped the opportunity very well. However, she did not expect that there would be a super master at the third level of the supreme power realm sitting next to her. When the sharp knife had touched the skin of Zhou Xinju's neck, she was about to complete the assassination mission. The corner of her mouth had a touch of pride after success. At this moment, her wrist was suddenly grabbed tightly by someone. The sharp knife in her hand could no longer move forward. Hao Lingling was shocked. She did not expect that the toy boy next to her would stop her at the critical moment. As an experienced killer, she immediately realized that she had met a master. She wanted to escape after the mission failed, but she was surprised to find that she had lost the ability to move. Then, she was thrown out and smashed hard on the ground in front of the VIP seats. Knowing that Zhou Xinju had just realized what had happened, the bodyguard sitting on the other side of her rushed up and subdued Hao Lingling on the ground. Qin Haodong looked around. Originally, he was afraid that the assassination would affect Ouyang Shanshan's concert. However, he found that no one noticed the difference in the deafening music. Everyone's eyes were attracted by Ouyang Shanshan's passionate performance on the stage. Zhou Xinju's face showed a cold expression. She did not want to make things too big, so she waved her hand and asked the bodyguard to take Hao Lingling away. After the matter was dealt with, she looked back at Zhou Guohao, who was already stunned. She asked in a cold voice, "What the hell is going on?" I don't know. He was originally a playboy who only knew how to eat, drink and have fun. He did not expect that Hao Lingling, who was obedient to him, would turn into a fierce killer in the blink of an eye. Her target was Zhou Xinju. Looking at him, Zhou Xinju also knew that the assassination had nothing to do with him. He was just a tool being used by others. Hurry up and get back. I'll deal with you later. I know. No matter how stupid Zhou Guohao was, he knew that he had caused a big trouble this time. Zhou Xinju was the core figure of the Zhou family's third generation and the actual person in charge of the Zhou family. The woman he brought had actually tried to kill her. He could not get away with it. He no longer cared about enjoying the concert and left the scene in disgrace. Zhou Xinju turned around and said to Qin Haodong with a solemn expression, "Thank you for saving me. I, Zhou Xinju, owe you my life. It's nothing. It's just a piece of cake." Qin Haodong did not take this matter to heart. It was really not a big deal to subdue such an ordinary killer. Zhou Xinju was very experienced. The man in front of her was still calm after experiencing so many things. He was definitely not an ordinary person. She said, "Can you tell me your name?" Chapter 475. Qin Haodong. This was the first time that Zhou Xinju had asked for a man's name. In the past, when other men saw her, they would immediately report their names, then their phone numbers, QQ numbers, and WeChat numbers. In short, they wanted to contact her in various ways. However, the man in front of her only said his name and nothing else. She could only ask patiently, "What's your phone number? Is it inconvenient for you to tell me?" "Okay." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and told her his phone number. "This is my business card. You can find me no matter what happens in Shanghai." Zhou Xinju stuffed an antique business card into Qin Haodong's hand and then left with her people. Although the concert was not over yet, she had too many things to do. Qin Haodong looked back at the stage and heard Li Meiyu say, "You played a good role in saving the beauty. What's wrong? Didn't she repay you with her body? Why do I smell jealousy? Are you jealous because of me?" Qin Haodong sniffed and looked at Li Meiyu with a playful expression. "Even if all the men in the world die, I won't be jealous of a playboy like you." It seemed that this was not enough to vent her anger, so Li Meiyu said angrily, "I'm telling you, stay away from me in the future. Don't think about pursuing me, and don't think about letting me live with you." "What the hell? Is that necessary?" Qin Haodong didn't expect Li Meiyu to have such a big reaction. Now he had to deal with this little girl. If she really didn't let him get close to her, it would be troublesome to protect her in the future. "You can't do this. Didn't you say that you would live with me if I got you tickets for the concert? But you said that you would pursue me. Why are you trying to please another woman in the blink of an eye?" Li Meiyu was really angry. In the past, she was the focus of attention wherever she went. She was a high and mighty princess and the object of all men's pursuit. Now, the guy who kept saying that he wanted to pursue her was flirting with another woman in front of her, which made her feel very embarrassed. "Actually, she's a patient. I was just treating her. Before that, I didn't even know her name. How could I please her?" Qin Haodong quickly explained, "I'm a doctor. In the eyes of doctors, there is no distinction between men and women, so don't think too much." "Doctor? Cure diseases?" Li Meiyu said angrily, "You are obviously flirting with a girl, but you insist that you are treating a disease. You have just been admitted to the medical college and haven't studied for a day. How can you treat a disease? Please, even if you want to lie, can you find a better reason? You're insulting my intelligence." "I'm telling the truth. I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in my family. I can indeed treat illnesses." "I don't believe you. Who are you trying to fool? I really am a doctor. I can prove it to you now." In order to deal with the little girl in front of him, Qin Haodong could only try to prove himself. He said, "Are you on your period today?" Li Meiyu was stunned. Finally, she said angrily, "Pervert, did you peek at me? What are you looking at? Even if I want to peek, I need a chance." Qin Haodong said, "I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Traditional Chinese medicine emphasizes looking, listening, questioning and feeling the pulse. Your breath is unstable now, which is obviously a symptom of a woman's menstrual period." Li Meiyu thought for a moment and said, "Even if you're a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, I've only heard of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners feeling people's pulse. I've never heard of holding hands to treat illnesses. So you're still lying. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I can treat you now. What are you going to treat me for? I'm in good health and I'm not sick. Western medicine says that you're not sick. In the eyes of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, you're sick." Qin Haodong said, "You like to be cool and don't pay attention to keeping warm. Especially during your menstrual period, you often eat cold drinks and wash your hair, so that the cold in your body is too strong. This will cause your menstrual period to be disrupted, and every time it happens, you will feel particularly uncomfortable. You will have lower abdominal pain and waist ache, and it will become more and more serious. Am I right?" Li Meiyu opened her mouth in surprise. Her physical condition was exactly the same as what Qin Haodong had said, and this time her menstrual period came very suddenly. She had just left for less than 20 days last time, and this time it came again. If she hadn't wanted to see Ouyang Shanshan's concert, she would never have come out today. "Since you're right, let me treat you." Qin Haodong took Li Meiyu's hand and transferred the greenwood genuine qi through her Laogong acupoint. Getting rid of the cold was much easier than treating Zhou Xinju's breast cancer. After the greenwood genuine qi circulated in her body, the cold was completely eliminated. Her lower abdomen, which had been aching just now, became extremely comfortable at this time, and she was much more energetic. Only then did she realize that she had misunderstood Qin Haodong. At the same time, she was surprised by the magic of his medical skills. Since Li Meiyu's expression had eased a lot, Qin Haodong quickly struck while the iron was hot. "I was right. I was indeed treating a patient just now. And as you can see, she's not as beautiful as you, and her figure is not as good as yours. How could I not pursue a beauty like you? Every woman liked to hear compliments from others, and Li Meiyu was no exception. All right then, I'll let you pass. What about staying at my place tonight? I'll keep my word. After Li Meiyu finished speaking, she looked at Qin Haodong in confusion. You always want me to live with you. Are you up to something bad? How could I? I'm an honest and reliable person. How could I have any bad ideas? As Qin Haodong spoke, he did not take his hand back. He continued to use the green wood genuine qi to help her dredge the blocked meridians in other parts of her body. Li Meiyu felt that her hand was very comfortable being held by Qin Haodong, so she was not in a hurry to take it back. The two of them continued to watch the concert. As time went by, the concert slowly came to an end. Ouyang Shanshan and Jia Shihan once again collaborated on a song. Then, they slowly disappeared from everyone's sight on the lift of the stage. The concert was over. Although the fanatical fans were reluctant to leave, they had to leave after the song ended. Qin Haodong and the others followed the crowd and slowly walked out of the venue. Boss, you and sister-in-law can continue to be alone. We'll go back first. Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang returned to Jiangnan Medical College. Qin Haodong stopped a taxi and rushed to his villa with Li Meiyu. Today's encounter with Zhou Xinju had given him some inspiration. After coming to Shanghai, he was still not clear about the major forces. So, after getting in the car, he sent a message to Ma Wenjue, asking him to sort out the details of the major forces in Shanghai and send it to him, including the situation of Zhou Xinju and the Zhou family. In the office of the Daddy Security Company, Ma Wenjue was originally enjoying a new action movie by a teacher in Japan. After hanging up the phone, he said with dissatisfaction, "Without a girl to accompany me, I can't even stop watching a short movie." Although he said that, his hands did not stop and he began to prepare the information that Qin Haodong wanted. As a top security company, it was necessary to fully understand the major forces in Shanghai, so the information was ready-made. He directly copied it into a USB flash drive, got up, and rushed to Qin Haodong's home. In the taxi, Li Meiyu saw Qin Haodong quietly playing with his phone after getting in the car. She asked, "What are you doing?" "Nothing, I'm sending a friend a message." "Why are you sending a message? Why don't you call me?" Li Meiyu said with a smile, "Are you contacting your accomplice to sell me out?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "You have a rich imagination. If I wanted to sell you out, would I still need to find an accomplice? One person is enough." Although they had not known each other for long, Li Meiyu still trusted the man in front of her very much. She was just curious as to why Qin Haodong wanted her to live in his home. Soon, they arrived at Qin Haodong's villa. Li Meiyu did not expect Qin Haodong's home to be so beautiful. She asked, "Is this your house?" Qin Haodong nodded, "Yes. I didn't expect you to have such a beautiful house," Li Meiyu said as she walked into the hall with Qin Haodong. After looking around the villa, she said with satisfaction, "Your house is good. I've decided to live here." Qin Haodong secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The girl finally agreed. Otherwise, he would have to go to the girls' dormitory at night and squat downstairs. He could make do with it today. When the military training began, no one was allowed to leave the dormitory. What should he do? It was not a good deal this time. It seemed that the price of 1 million a day was still too low. He had to ask Nailan Wushuang to adjust it to at least 10 million a day. Li Meiyu kicked off her high heels and sat down on the sofa. "My feet are so sore after a day's work." She glanced at Qin Haodong and said with a bad smile, "Aren't you a Chinese medicine practitioner? You must know how to massage. How about you massage my feet?" Qin Haodong was also speechless. "I'm just a Chinese medicine practitioner, not a foot massage therapist." Li Meiyu pouted and said, "What? You don't want to?" If you don't want to, then I'm leaving. Okay, I'll do it. Qin Haodong could tell that this little girl was aiming at his Achilles heel. Today, Zhou Xinju's assassination also gave him a wake-up call. Although the direct descendants of rich and powerful families seemed to have unlimited glory, they could face killers from all sides at any time. As the company's super bodyguard, of course, he couldn't destroy the golden brand of Daddy Security Company in his own hands. He could only become a foot massage therapist, which was much better than squatting downstairs of the girls' dormitory. He sat opposite Li Meiyu, picked up her legs, and put a pair of crystal-clear feet on his thighs. He had to admit that this woman's feet were really beautiful. Her skin was as white as jade, and her 10 pink toenails were like jade carvings, looking crystal clear. What are you looking at? Hurry up and massage. It was also the first time that Li Meiyu had received a massage from the opposite sex. She was still a little embarrassed, and her cheeks were burning. Massage, I'll massage you now. Qin Haodong said as he grabbed one of Li Meiyu's feet and began to massage. Oh. It's so comfortable. The green with genuine qi and the unique massage technique made Li Meiyu feel extremely comfortable. She couldn't help but cry out. Hearing this unique cry, Qin Haodong suddenly felt that 10,000 alpacas were running through his heart, and she was still playing happily. Why did this sound seem to be often heard in movies in a certain country? At this moment, someone at the door said, "Can I come in?" Qin Haodong turned his head and saw Ma Wenjue standing at the door with a smirk on his face. "Boss, did I come at the wrong time?" "Why not? Hurry up and get in here." Ma Wenjue walked in with a smile. When he saw Qin Haodong holding a pair of feet on his legs, he said with a smile, "Boss, are you massaging sister-in-law?" After that, he saw Li Meiyu's appearance clearly and immediately said in surprise, "Boss, you changed again. How many sisters-in-law are they?" Chapter 476. When Li Meiyu saw an outsider, she quickly retracted her feet. Qin Haodong said, "What nonsense are you talking about? We're just friends. Even ordinary friends can massage their feet." Ma Wenjue joked, "We've been brothers for so many years. If you give me a foot massage, I'll admit that you're just ordinary friends." Qin Haodong glared at him fiercely and said, "Go to hell, I haven't lived enough. Your stinky feet can even kill flies." Li Meiyu giggled when she heard them bickering. She asked, "Haodong, who is this?" "This is my brother Ma Wenjue, and this is my classmate Li Meiyu." Ma Wenjue pulled Qin Haodong aside and said, "Boss, you're really good at picking up girls. How could you bring such a beautiful girl home on the first day of school? I'm telling you, you can't be the only one eating the meat. Brothers can't even drink the soup. Today, you must teach me a thing or two." Qin Haodong said, "Come on, have you brought what I want?" "I brought it. Isn't it just information? It's all in this USB flash drive. It's well prepared." Ma Wenjue put a USB into Qin Haodong's hand. "Since you've brought it, you can leave now." Qin Haodong was afraid that this guy would expose his identity if he stayed here for a long time. At that time, he would violate the confidentiality agreement signed with the elder of the Li family. "Boss, don't be like this. How can you kill a donkey after it's no longer useful? You have to teach me a thing or two. What's there to teach? If there's nothing else, don't come again." Although Ma Wenjue kept protesting, he was still driven out by Qin Haodong. After returning, Li Meiyu asked, "Why did you drive your friend away?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Aren't we alone? What's the point of keeping him?" Only then did Li Meiyu remember that Qin Haodong had said that there was a girl in the villa. Where was she now? She asked, "Didn't you say there was someone else at home? Why didn't I see it?" Qin Haodong was about to say something when the door opened. Jia Shirhan walked in from the outside with the zither in her arms. This is my friend Jia Shirhan that I told you about. Qin Haodong said to Jia Shirhan, this is my classmate, Li Meiyu. She will live with us in the future. Jia Shirhan nodded to Li Meiyu and said politely, hello. Li Meiyu looked at her in surprise and said, are you the girl who played the piano at the concert? Jia Shirhan never turned around until the end of the concert. This became a regret in the hearts of many fans. No one knew who this beautiful figure playing the piano was. After the concert, she went home directly without changing her clothes, so she was immediately recognized by Li Meiyu. Jia Shirhan nodded. It's me. Oh my god, your 7-string zither is so beautiful. Li Meiyu excitedly pulled Jia Shirhan's hand. Many people said that you must be ugly, so you didn't dare to turn around. It turns out that you are so beautiful. Jia Shirhan said shyly, sister is beautiful. I'm nothing. Li Meiyu said, Sister Shirhan, don't be modest. You are more beautiful. Why didn't you face everyone at the concert today? I can guarantee that as long as you turn around, you will be very popular. Jia Shirhan said, I don't want that. Playing the piano is my hobby. I don't want it to affect my life. The way she appeared today was not to be mysterious, but she really didn't want people to know her appearance. During the days when she played the piano in the Hemming tea house, she had enough of those people's harassment. This left a shadow in her heart, so she didn't want people to know what she looked like. Oh. That's good. Li Meiyu pulled Jia Shirhan and said, Sister Shirhan, your 7-string zither is so beautiful. Can you teach me? Of course, as long as you are willing to learn. Of course I'm willing. You don't know how beautiful you are when you play the piano on the stage. Even your back has fascinated many people, Li Meiyu said excitedly. Let's go to your room and start learning now. The two women hit it off at first sight and went to Jia Shirhan's room hand in hand. Qin Haodong went to the bathroom to take a shower. Then, he talked on the phone with Lin Momo and the little fellow for an hour before he slowly fell asleep. This sleep was very sweet. According to his past habits, he still got up early when the sun rose in the east. He walked out of the door wearing a vest and big pants. There was still no movement in the two girls' room. It seemed that they had played too late last night. He went to the living room alone. He remembered that Ma Wenjue had given him yesterday that he hadn't had time to look at. He took it out and plugged it into the TV. The TV given by Yang Jinlong was not only big enough, but also advanced enough. It could be directly connected to the internet and the USB. It was very convenient to use. After plugging in the USB, he took a cup of yogurt from the refrigerator. While drinking, he pressed the power button of the remote control. The TV screen flashed, followed by a familiar and exciting cry. At this time, on the big screen, a man and a woman were happily playing a very primitive human reproduction game. What the hell, what is this? Qin Haodong was so scared that his hands trembled. The yogurt that he had just drunk spilled out. The position was not good and it spilled on his big pants. This kind of island action movie was basically a compulsory course in the male college dormitory. It was impossible for him not to have seen it. The reason why he was so nervous was that he was afraid that the sound would be heard by the two girls who were sleeping. If that happened, he would be too ashamed to see others. He quickly reached for the remote control and turned off the TV. He looked back and saw that there was still no movement in Jia Shirhan's room. Then, he breathed a sigh of relief. He threw the half cup of yogurt in his hand into the trash can. Then, he pulled out 2 tissues from the tissue box on the table and wiped the yogurt that spilled on his hands. He looked down at his big pants and couldn't help but laugh. Although the time was very short, the second leader still reacted very diligently. Moreover, the position of the yogurt spilled was a little too embarrassing. Coupled with the milky white sticky yogurt, it was fortunate that no one saw it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to explain it even if he had 100 mouths. After cleaning up his pants, he threw the tissue on the tea table. He secretly cursed in his heart. What is Ma Wenjue doing? Why did he send this kind of thing to me? Where is the information of the major forces in Shanghai? How did it become an action movie from Japan? This guy must have been watching an action movie when he was getting the information for me, so he made such a big mistake. After figuring it out, Qin Haodong hesitated for a moment and finally picked up the TV remote control. It had to be said that Japan was still leading the world in action movies. Although he used to be an immortal emperor, he wasn't a real immortal. He couldn't be immune. Since he was a layman, he couldn't help but like to watch Japan's action movies. He just shook it a little, so he didn't see it clearly. The woman seemed to be a famous teacher. He looked back at Jia Shihan's room again. There was still no movement there. It seemed that the two girls slept too late last night. It was estimated that they would only wake up after a while. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong once again pressed the power button of the remote control. However, he learned from the last experience and pressed the mute button first this time. The screen showed again. He didn't see it wrong. It was indeed an action movie starring a teacher from Japan. At this time, the war had not ended, and the situation was in a fierce state. Although he had also watched this kind of action movie in the dormitory, it was only on a 10-inch laptop screen. Compared with the current big screen, the effect was still much worse. Using this kind of high-definition big screen to appreciate Teacher Mao was really exciting. He was so excited that he almost ran to the TV to watch. But at this moment, he keenly heard the sound of footsteps, followed by the sound of a click. The door opened. I'm so sleepy. It seems that people can't sleep too late. If they stay up too late, they will suffer from insomnia. With a murmur, Li Meiyu came out of the room. Why did this girl get up so early? If she saw it, it would be over. Qin Haodong quickly pressed the remote control in his hand and turned off the TV. Then, he turned to the bed and put on a look of enjoying the scenery. But soon, he was embarrassed to find that in such a short time, he had already propped up his own world, which made his big underwear look particularly eye-catching. In order not to be too eye-catching, he could only quietly stick up his buttocks, bow his body, and try his best to reduce the height there. Li Meiyu walked into the living room and took a glass of water. Then she saw Qin Haodong standing by the window and asked, "What are you doing here so early in the morning?" "I'm watching the sunrise," Qin Haodong said casually. In fact, all his attention at this time was on the second master, hoping that he would lie down quickly and eliminate the current embarrassment. Li Meiyu glanced out of the window and said, "Are you sure you're waiting for today's sunrise? Don't you see that it's cloudy outside? How can there be a sunrise?" In fact, it doesn't matter whether it's cloudy or not. If you're well, it's a sunny day. Are you still asleep? Why are you still talking in your sleep?" Li Meiyu drank up the water in the glass, rubbed her eyes, and walked to the sofa. After sitting down, when she was about to take the remote control, she suddenly found the two pieces of tissue on the tea table. At this time, the milky white sticky substance on them was clearly visible. She grew up in Hong Kong and received the relatively open education of Hong Kong. She immediately thought of what was on the tissue. "Qin Haodong, I didn't expect you to be so shameless. How dare you do such a dirty thing here in the morning?" In anger, Li Meiyu immediately roared. Only then did Qin Haodong remember the two pieces of tissue. He quickly came to his senses and explained, "You misunderstood. It's not what you think. It's yogurt on the tissue. You're really good at quibbling." Li Meiyu pointed at his exaggerated big pants and cried, "Do you think I can believe you?" Qin Haodong looked down at the disappointing guy and the yogurt mark on his big pants. He secretly complained in his heart. It was really difficult to explain. "Sister Li, why did you quarrel with him? Didn't I tell you that he is a good person? The door opened again and Jia Shihan, who had been woken up, came out of the room. Li Meiyu said angrily, good person. Sister Shihan, you were deceived by this big pervert. How can he be a good person? Sister Li, you must have misunderstood him. It's fine as long as you solve the misunderstanding. Jia Shihan came to the living room as she spoke. She took Li Meiyu's hand and said, Sister, what's going on? Li Meiyu stared at Qin Haodong and said, tell me. I'll tell you. I'm not afraid of the shadow. Qin Haodong turned around, pointed to the 2 pieces of tissue on the table and said, I drank a cup of yogurt this morning and accidentally spilled it. So I wiped it with these 2 pieces of tissue and put it on the tea table. She insisted that I was, speaking of this, he suddenly stopped. Facing Jia Shihan's innocent big eyes, he really couldn't say the second half of the sentence. Jia Shihan didn't understand what was going on and continued to ask, what is it? Chapter 477. Yes. Yes. Qin Haodong held it in for a long time and suddenly came up with an idea. This is yogurt, but she said it wasn't. I don't know what she thought it was. Is there a need for you two to quarrel over such a small matter? Jia Shihan said as she picked up the 2 tissues from the tea table. Under Li Meiyu's surprised expression, she put them in front of her nose and sniffed them. Sister Li, this is really yogurt. It really smells like yogurt. As he spoke, he handed the tissue to Li Meiyu. If you don't believe me, you can smell it. It really smells like yogurt. I don't want to smell it. It's disgusting. Throw it away quickly. If you want to drink yogurt, I'll take it myself. Li Meiyu said as she hid far away. She took out 2 bottles of yogurt from the refrigerator and threw one to Jia Shihan. Jia Shihan took the yogurt, turned around and said to Qin Haodong, brother, do you want to drink yogurt? You can drink it. I just finished. Speaking of this, Qin Haodong's expression suddenly became nervous because he saw Li Meiyu pick up the TV remote control and press the power button. At this time, it was too late for him to stop her. The TV screen flashed and the action movie just now began to play again. At this time, Teacher Mao's opponent had changed to another fierce man. The 2 of them were fighting together, and the battle was extremely fierce. This extremely stimulating scene was released through the huge TV screen. That scene made Qin Haodong feel like he was going to die. It's over. It's over. It's completely over. If I had known earlier, I would have just pulled out the USB flash drive. Fortunately, his reaction was fast enough. In an instant, he exerted the body technique of a 3rd-level Supreme Power Master to the extreme. He came to the front of the TV as if he had teleported and pulled out the USB flash drive. The picture on the TV disappeared. Li Meiyu watched a soap opera with Jia Shihan last night. When she got up in the morning, she was bored and wanted to continue watching it. Unexpectedly, as soon as she turned on the TV, she saw such a scene that made her blush and her heart beat faster. She had seen this kind of small action movie before, but it was out of curiosity. She secretly watched it on the computer. She had never watched it on such a big TV screen in front of others. When the image appeared on the big screen, she was so shocked that her wrist shook and the yogurt spilled on her nightdress. For a moment, she was ashamed and angry. She hurriedly wiped the yogurt off her body, then pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted, "How dare you peep at this kind of thing? What else can you say now?" When Jia Shihan turned around, Qin Haodong had already unplugged the USB. She didn't see the picture on the TV. She asked curiously, "What happened?" "See, I told you it was yogurt. You would spill it if you weren't careful." You didn't believe me. Qin Haodong was indeed an old monster who had lived for more than 500 years. At this time, he had regained his composure. As he spoke, he pulled Li Meiyu aside and whispered, "I'm innocent. This USB flash drive was given to me by Ma Wenjue. I originally wanted information, but I didn't expect that it would contain such a thing. I was also shocked when I opened it just now. That's why yogurt came out. It's exactly the same as yours. From the bottom of her heart, Li Meiyu believed Qin Haodong's words, but she still cried, "You're all jackals of the same lair. None of you are good people." Qin Haodong looked back at Jia Shihan, who was full of doubts, and said in a low voice, "Stop arguing. Shihan is a pure little girl. She doesn't know anything. Don't lead her astray. How about we let today's matter pass? I must reveal your true colors to Sister Shihan and let her see who you are. You're not done yet, are you? Where's the basic trust between people? I said I'm innocent." Looking at Li Meiyu's unforgiving expression, Qin Haodong took out a small jade bottle from his pocket and gave it to her. He said, "This is for you. Let's pretend that nothing happened. How about it?" Li Meiyu took the small jade bottle and asked, "What is it?" "It's an ancestral secret recipe. It's an exclusive physique-improving pill. After eating it, I guarantee that you'll be strong and healthy and won't get sick." "Really?" "Of course it's true. If it's fake, I'll compensate you with the villa." "Humph, even if it's true, don't try to bribe me." Li Meiyu snorted disdainfully, but she held the small jade bottle tightly in her hand and carried it behind her back. It was obvious that she wanted to take it for herself. Qin Haodong was so angry that his nose was crooked. "Since you don't want to be bribed, why do you want my things?" However, now was not the time to argue. He took out another small jade bottle and said, "How about this? The breast enhancement and body shaping pill can reduce the fat in other parts of the body. It will stick to your chest and allow you to increase your cup size in the shortest time." While speaking, he glanced at Li Meiyu's chest. Because he had been nervously defending himself just now, he didn't notice that the girl was dressed so sexily. She was wearing a black lace nightdress with straps, which exposed her white shoulders and sexy collarbone. Below it were two long white legs, which exuded an attractive luster under the light. Seeing that the bulging nightdress had begun to take shape, according to his experience, this girl should already have a C cup. He didn't know if the breast enhancement and body shaping pill would be tempting to her. It turned out that he had underestimated a woman's desire for a perfect figure. Li Meiyu grabbed the small jade bottle of the breast enhancement and body shaping pill. "For the sake of your sincere apology, I'll give you a chance. However, these two things are not enough. You have to promise me one condition." This girl was really demanding an exorbitant price. Qin Haodong felt distressed. It should be known that any one of these two pills could be sold at a sky-high price at an auction. It was definitely more valuable than the villa he lived in now. Now she had taken away both of them, but she still wanted to make a condition. However, he had to lower his head because she had something on him. He said, "What condition? Tell me." "Shihan said that your cooking is very delicious. From today on, you will take care of my meals. Do you have any problem with this?" "Okay, deal." Qin Haodong could only humiliatingly sign the unequal contract. He had just been a foot therapist last night, and now he had become a chef. A chef who didn't know how to do foot therapies was not a good bodyguard. After the two of them had agreed on the conditions, they turned around and faced Jia Shihan happily. "What are you talking about secretly?" Qin Haodong said happily, "Nothing. Your sister Li is a little uncomfortable, so she asked me to prescribe some medicine for her. She was too embarrassed to tell me." Li Meiyu was still very contractual. She shook the small jade bottle in her hand and said, "Yes, I asked him for some medicine." Jia Shihan didn't think much about it. She said, "What was on TV just now? It felt so strange." Li Meiyu curled her lips and turned to look at Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong said embarrassedly, "In fact, it's nothing. A woman is sick, and a male doctor is giving her an injection. Jia Shirhan asked curiously, but I just heard a sound. The woman seemed to be in pain. Yes, of course, the injection hurts, and the doctor's needle is a little thick, so it's a little painful. Qin Haodong racked his brains to find a suitable reason. He deeply understood what it meant to be a pain in the ass. Brother, why did you pull out the USB flash drive? Can't you let me see it? No. Qin Haodong hurriedly said, the scene of the injection is too bloody. It's not suitable for children. I'm afraid that you will have a fear of doctors in the future, so it's better not to watch it. Seeing this pure and cute girl become so curious, Qin Haodong was afraid that she would continue to ask, so he quickly said, you too must be hungry. I'll go cook for you now. After that, he rushed into the kitchen at a speed of 100 meters and slammed the kitchen door. What's wrong with him? Why is he so strange? Jia Shirhan looked at his back and said in surprise. Li Meiyu curled her lips and said, he has a guilty conscience. Jia Shirhan said, Sister Li, you can't say that about him. He is a good person. I won't say it, I won't say it. Let's watch TV. Li Meiyu said as she picked up the remote control and found the soap opera she had not finished watching yesterday. Qin Haodong went into the kitchen, took out his mobile phone and dialed Ma Wenjua's number. Boss, how is it? Is the film I gave you good? Let me tell you, this is my treasure. If I hadn't taken the wrong one yesterday, I wouldn't have given it to you. Send it back to me after you watch it. As soon as the phone was connected, Ma Wenjua's cheap voice came from the other side. Qin Haodong said angrily, it's not good. You didn't tell me what was in it. I just turned it on the TV and Li Meiyu saw it. How do you want to settle the score? What? Others saw it? Ma Wenjua's laughter immediately came from the other side of the phone. Boss, how can you be so careless? But watching Japanese action movies with beautiful women has been my dream for many years. I didn't expect it to be realized by you so soon. It must be very enjoyable, right? Satisfied my ass. I was ruthlessly extorted by that girl. This loss must be counted on your head. From today onwards, your salary is gone. Qin Haodong was gnashing his teeth as he spoke, but Ma Wenjua shouted on the other side of the phone, hello. Hello. Why is the signal so bad? Boss, I can't hear what you said. I've sent the information you asked for to your email. Go and see it yourself. We'll talk when we have time. After that, Ma Wenjua hung up the phone very quickly. Then he took a long breath, patted his chest and said, that was close. Fortunately, I reacted quickly. Otherwise, how can I chase after girls in the future without a salary? Qin Haodong logged into the mailbox with his mobile phone and saw that there was indeed an extra file in it. After opening it, it was a detailed introduction of the major forces in Shanghai. He briefly looked at it. There were 3 top forces in Shanghai, namely the Zhou family, the Sun family, and the Jing family. The Zhou family focused on economy, the Sun family focused on martial arts, and the Jing family focused on economy and martial arts. They were the strongest of the 3 families. The Zhou family was a giant in the economic field of Shanghai. Zhou Xinju, whom he met last night, was the core figure of the 3rd generation of the Zhou family. All the economic industries of the Zhou family were under her jurisdiction. She was the kind of person who could make Shanghai tremble with a sneeze. I didn't expect this flat-chested woman to have such a big background. Qin Haodong smiled and put away his mobile phone. He would study it in detail when he had time. Now he had to hurry up and cook. Otherwise, Li Meiyu might make trouble later. Half an hour later, he brought a small bowl of porridge, a plate of steamed buns, and 4 side dishes to the table. Li Meiyu sat at the table and looked at it. There was no meat on the table. She frowned and said, breakfast is so important. You only gave me this. Are you sure it can stop my mouth? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.